Fake it till we make it. Fake it till you can make it. Shake that booty, but don't forget to break it.
Please have that be the intro.
No. Hello, my beautiful Banjos and Kazooies. Welcome to the Nintendo Everything Podcast, episode 33. I am your host, Oni Dino. With me, I have a Jiggy who just doesn't fit into the puzzle. It's Galen.
Good.
That sounds more like Banjo.
What Jiggy does what noise does a Jiggy make?
You know, I can't quite remember because they don't talk too much in those. I think they talk a little bit in the opening area, like when you're kind of being introduced to what it is.
Yeah.
And that's it. I feel like it had a bit of a higher pitched voice, but not super memorable. Yo, so this is our post E3 show. If you can't tell, I am dead as the hell, and I have to apologize right off the bat for my vocal quality and my energy level. I am hyped, but I just trying to survive, you know? This is probably the most pathetic you're gonna hear me. Oh, Christ. I'm so tired. I got in at like 2 a.m. and got lots of post content to touch up on and get everything together. We're going to have so much good coverage for everybody listening and paying attention to the website. We got footage that we're going to be uploading and interviews and impressions on all of these different games. It's going to be super exciting.
I'm really excited to hear what you have to say about some of this stuff.
Yeah, so basically with this episode this week is gonna kind of be like part one of a possibly 2 or 3-parter or something like that, where we just kind of go over E3 stuff, and we're also gonna go over the weekly news as well. So stay tuned for everything E3. Through a twist your way, through an M. Night Shyamalan twist your way. Oh my god, I woke up this morning and like so many people were tired of walking and everything because walking around E3, you know, people's legs hurt. For me, I got like great legs. I got great legs and a great butt. Keeps me moving. I have no leg pains whatsoever.
Well, I'm glad people can hear about your great butt.
Yes, any chance I have, that booty talks. It also claps. Oh, this is a weird episode. However, I also want to say that when I woke up this morning, though, like none of that hurt, but my shoulders and my back did hurt because I was carrying around my heavy laptop, microphone setup, capture equipment, all that good stuff. So I was lugging around that super heavy backpack the entire show, running around from hall to hall, meeting room, upstairs, downstairs, all that junk.
Booty clapping all the way.
Yeah, Mr. X could hear me. He could find me because of that booty clap. I'm dummy thick. And so, like, when I woke up, I didn't even, like, move yet. And I already could tell that my shoulders and my back were hurting. And I was like, well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions. Ugh, I'm a pain person right now.
You know what? I am... You know what? No, I got nothing.
What?
Well, I was going to say I'm envious of your pain, but I felt like that would sound petty. So I'm just saying your pain is very much appreciated.
Galen, you've already walked through the petty threshold and you're in petty land. You took out a loan with Tom Nook and you're already setting up your petty shack. So
I own 48,500 bells.
49,800.
Oh, is that way? Did it go up?
No, that's exactly what he said in the trailer. You fake gamer! So anyway, kicking off this show, I want to say to all of our dear listeners, thank you very much for writing in a whole bunch these last couple of weeks. Ever since we threatened you guys have really been pouring those emails in.
Oh, yeah. No, it's been great reading the questions and the comments that have been sent in.
So I want to say, write in if there's something specific that you guys want to hear us talking about for E3. Whether it's something that like I personally experienced on the show floor, or even if it's just something you want to hear Galen and my opinions on from the show or pre-post show. Even non-Nintendo related, of course, totally cool. We play all the games here.
Yeah.
And we, both of us, read every email that comes through, and we try to read like literally every one we possibly can. So if you haven't had your email read yet, it's in the queue.
I tend to wrap half of them as they come in, so yeah.
Please address your emails to me only, not to Galen. But to be honest though, like you guys sending in some emails asking questions about E3 and whatnot would really help us out. Because for the next week or two, things are just going to be hectic with post E3 coverage. So thank you in advance for that.
Yeah.
You know, especially this past few weeks where we got like this big flood of emails, I really have just been like, man, I love our community. It's just it's a nice tight-knit little community that we got going, and I like it growing at a slower pace as well. I don't want it to grow too fast.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometime in the future I'd like to like set up a Discord for us or something like that, so everybody can kind of communicate and just be nice to each other through
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. There's enough negativity in the world, right? And like enough negativity in gaming in general too, where people are just fighting. So I just want to get people together and being nice.
Yeah, and we should talk about how nice we are and how appreciative everybody is towards each other. You know, like Bethesda.
I'm trying to run in a Todd Coward joke into your name, but I can't make it happen. I'm too tired. I'm a sleepy boy.
Maybe we'll talk about that next week.
So let's talk all about Nintendo's E3 Direct and some of my E3 nonsense shenanigans, shall we, Galen?
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a sip of water. Water. When I went to Dragon Con a couple of years ago, there was this awesome dude outside selling water on the streets from cooler, just to like get people's attention and stuff, because there's thousands of people running around.
Yeah.
He's standing on top of his cooler, like just jumping up and shouting, and I'll never forget because it was so catchy. He's like, "Ice cold water, water $1, water, ice cold water." And it just kept going, and I was like, "Yeah, dude, get it!" And I never forgot it.
Well, there you go. Did you spend $1?
I did.
And you got a water? A water for $1?
Yeah, I just got a water. I didn't get a water. I didn't have $1. So let's go into this thing piece by piece, brick by brick, just like Legos, I guess. I don't know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Dragon Quest Hero in Smash. It's been rumored for a long time, been hoped for a long time. Makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah. No, I was actually really happy to see him in there. When they were showing the gameplay of him, he actually looks a lot like he shares a similar moveset to Robin from Fire Emblem.
Oh, really? I didn't get that feeling at all. What makes you say that?
A lot of it had to do with like the way that he was utilizing his magic attacks, and especially like channeling them through his sword. Like there was this one where he was like shooting out a fire attack or shooting out a lightning attack, and it just
I see now
reminded me a lot of that as the trailer was going along.
Yeah, okay. Now that you mention it, makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. Not that I'm saying he's like an Echo Fighter or anything like that. It's just, you know, mechanics-wise, I can kind of see how those two have like similar sets to each other.
Mm-hmm. So there seems to be like a command menu too that you can switch through, kind of like with Shulk.
Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting. I am particularly curious how they are going to balance all those things to make sure that they work well and that he's not too OP. You know?
Well, yeah, and I mean, all we've seen is just that one trailer. We know nothing about like the specifics of his mechanics.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll come out with another direct when they're ready to actually launch him, and they'll be like, "Hey, this is how he actually plays out," very similar to how they did with Joker.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to do another direct, but I would expect them to do like a Like one of those just 10-minute YouTube videos.
Yeah. Just like a mini direct.
I don't know. I don't think that they're going to label it as a direct at all.
No?
They're just going to make like even like a 4 or 5 minute video or something, just pre-release.
Yeah. Still, I'd be happy with that.
We get another sword fighter. Everybody knows there's not enough sword fighters in Smash.
To be fair, this one does feel a little different compared to some of the other sword fighters that have been there. Like, the whole thing with the sword fighters in Smash is because there are so many copies of, like, you've got Lucina, you've got Marth, you've got Roy, you've got Chrom, and they are basically all the same character. It's all just a matter of what area of the sword you actually want to hit. And then...
That's not true. Oh, you making Smash fans angry at you, bro.
And then but they have very similar, if not identical, movesets to each other, with some variations on like Chrom and such. Robin...
okay. Now you're gonna try and dig yourself out of the hole.
No, I'm gonna try to collapse the hole that's around me and just kind of climb out that way. No, Robin was unique, and I wasn't upset when he was announced as a sword fighter in Smash, and that's because he felt different when you played him. Yes, he had a sword, but he relied a lot on his magical abilities when you played him, and he also had that unique feature of a limit to the amount of times he could actually use his magical attacks. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, you know, another sword fighter in Smash with the Dragon Quest hero, I'm not that upset with it because he looks like he is a unique enough character. The fact that he is using a sword is not necessarily like the focus point on this.
Yeah, I honestly don't care. I just wanted to sort of point that out because that was what I thought when I saw it. Like, I was like, cool, yeah, this is great. Hey, cool, another sword fighter. But you know what? It's gotten so ridiculous at the amount of sword fighters that are in the freaking game that I'm just like, whatever, I don't care anymore.
Yeah. Well, and also if you think about it, like one could argue that there is an amount of flexibility and versatility in the type of weapons and the fighting style of characters who are coming into a game like Smash. Mm-hmm. But I think it really kind of narrows down to like the me characters. Like, if you look at them, you can play as a sword fighter, a brawler, or a gunner. And if you look at most of the other characters in Smash, if you don't...
they fall into sort of some...
Yeah, they fall into those same kind of categories. I mean, a sword is a very popular weapon in video games, so it's not really a surprise that iconic characters are coming in with that kind of a weapon. Hmm. I've always viewed it as like another sword fighter thing is more of just like focusing on how many Fire Emblem characters are coming in with swords. So.
Yeah, especially when there's a friggin' weapon triangle. Where's the spears and the axes?
Give me my Hector with the axe.
I was just about to bring up Hector. I love him. He's a cutie. So then, with that announcement of him being in Smash, they also propped up Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition. Mm-hmm. Such a title.
Yeah. And I was kind of surprised to see so much Dragon Quest right at the beginning of the direct. Nice. It makes sense. And I'm happy that we have, the launch date that we have. I'm happy that we got the screenshot with it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's coming out in September, and that is going to be a theme of the show, September.
Seriously.
Everybody hold on to your butts. Your wallet is going to try and fly right out of it.
They're letting you know now so you can start saving up money for when that comes around.
Exactly. It is the middle of June when we are recording this. Mm-hmm. You all need to go out and work, because you need to make money so you can buy the games in September.
You gotta work.
So they highlighted in the little trailer for Dragon Quest XI, they showed that there is going to be an expanded storyline, more monsters to ride, quality of life additions like speeding up battles. Mm-hmm. You can travel to past Dragon Quest worlds with a nice pixel aesthetic. All in all, it just looks like a really solid package, and it's not going to be just some like crummy port or anything like that. Nintendo is actually publishing and distributing this in Western territories. So Nintendo is heavily involved in making sure that the quality is up to snuff.
Yeah. And I felt like this was kind of a very short trailer when they showed it.
Considering.
Yeah. Well, and also considering that from a marketing standpoint, this is really just a reminder more than anything else. This is, hey, we're showing off this game. It's coming out. You already know about it. There's nothing new that we're really saying here. But remember, it's coming out soon. Like, but they didn't spend a lot of time with it. And that seems to be an overall theme with the Direct. Like, they did mention a couple of things that we did already know about, but they kept it brief with repeating the information and not overhyping themselves. And that I very much appreciated.
Yeah, overall, I guess we should say the Direct was great at pacing, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
They didn't
100%.
spend too much time on like anything. They did highlight a few things clearly a little bit more than others, which totally cool. And some things were really brief, but there were a lot of new announcements and good reminders and new information on things that we didn't know too much about before or that we just knew a bit on. Like, say, Fire Emblem and Astral Chain. We got new details in those trailers.
Yeah. No, I as far as the pacing and keeping me invested in the actual show, Nintendo has always done a fantastic job with their Directs.
I wouldn't say always, but more often than not, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like they have definitely got the formula down pretty precise.
I do want to say that, like, some of the other announcements and like before E3 there were so many leaks happening, and I mean, I'm on Twitter for work and everything, so kind of can't avoid them.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, save something for the show. Like, I know everybody's trying to, don't hate the player, hate the game kind of thing. Everyone's trying to get on the hustle and get the likes and the clicks and all that junk and get their name out there. But Jesus, I was like, everything was like leaked before the show, and then also, in addition to that, stuff that wasn't leaked, I was like not interested in, and it was kind of samey the majority of the way through until Square Enix on, what was that, Monday night? Yeah, Monday night.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Square? What are you doing? This is awesome. You've been terrible the last couple of years at E3. And I was like, awesome. I am happy with E3 now. And of course, I had low expectations for Nintendo. And they, just because they have like a bunch of games coming out this year, clearly. So I thought it was mostly going to be that, not too many new announcements. But then they really knocked it out of the park on that for me. And I was like, damn, Square and Nintendo saved E3. What year is this?
Right. And I feel like I definitely agree with you in that sentiment. A lot of, I don't know how in depth I should go on this, but I was very whelmed when it came to Microsoft's conference.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a little better, to be honest.
Yeah, Microsoft had so much potential to bring the surprises and bring that shock value to the floor, considering that they had no real competitor in the way of like Sony being a preference and trying to snatch up those first glances and things like that.
Yeah, but I think that 2020 is going to be a really good year to watch, like all three of them, but I'm really going to say Microsoft for sure, because they said that 2020 at the end of the year is going to be the launch of their new console. So, of course, E3 before that is going to be super important for them.
It's going to be huge.
What? What?
You were just talking about, like, I was waiting for you to do it like a Trump impersonation, just say it's going to be huge, like, the entire time.
He doesn't pronounce his H's.
It's going to be huge.
There. But that was a bad impersonation.
I don't actually listen to him. What do I know?
That's the way you stay sane in this world. So moving on from all that, we got a really cute Bowser skits with Doug Bowser and actual Bowser, which realistically probably was the best that they could have done. Again, I'm still about Doug Bowsette. Just come on out in a wig, crappy makeup. Just do it, bro.
I appreciated that they did go this route with it. It kind of shows, like, it's like I said last week. This is really the first public appearance, if you will, in this kind of a setting of their new. He's not CEO. What is he?
Yeah, he's president. So probably also
president
CEO.
of the North American division.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily going to say that he came in on level with, like, Reggie or anything.
But that's fine.
Yeah, and he didn't need to. I mean, it was funny. I was watching a lot of the like the treehouse stuff afterwards, and there was this one where he would just start walking around, and he went to up to people playing Sonic or Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, and he just goes like, choose Bowser. Just go Bowser.
That's cute.
Like, that's really fun. Okay.
Yeah.
It set a very good tone, not only for the direct, but just kind of what to expect out of him and what he is, the message that he wants to kind of put out there.
Yeah, but I mean, they can't keep going with like that same thing. It's good to come out of the gate with that, but they can't keep going with that, you know. So he has to pump up the charisma. I'm sure he will at some point. We really shouldn't compare him to Reggie, too, in my opinion, because as awkward, I think, as Reggie is, he's a very confident awkward, and he's an incredible speaker. So
yeah, absolutely.
He's very charismatic when it comes to that. So I don't think it's a really fair comparison to put him in that. Doug Bowser's charismatic enough and good at speaking.
Yeah, and to also give him credit, Reggie was in that role for quite a number of years before he finally stepped down. So he not only did he have time for that natural charisma to come up, but he also had that, that practiced charisma to go on the same level.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm definitely not making a comparison in any sense or anything like that, but it still was nice to see what they did with him stepping out.
Going back to Bowser, though, Mario Bowser, how are we going to do this now? Is this what we have to do in life now? The King Koopa. Okay, that's going back to him. Did you see his little tie? He's so precious.
I did.
I really like this direction of Bowser being a bumbling fool, evil king. They really played that up in the Paper Mario series for sure. But I love him being like that.
In my headcanon, everybody was backstage and Bowser was like all nervous because he was making a presentation. So he looked over and saw DK. He was like, "Hey, can I borrow that? I'm just gonna borrow that." And he took DK's tie and walked out with it.
Oh, that's
like in my
great.
headcanon, that's what happened.
And he just like turned it around so that way you can't see the DK letters on it. That's pretty good. So moving on from that, we had Luigi's Mansion.
Yes.
Actually, they don't call it that. They call it Luigi Mansion. でもmansionって言うかな? They don't, because the word mansion in Japanese is like an apartment building. It's not like a genuine like big old mansion.
I'm a little surprised that they left the title Luigi's Mansion 3 and didn't try to incorporate something referencing the hotel.
Yeah, like Luigi's Hotel or something.
Yeah.
Whatever. People know this franchise,
It's true. I mean, you say Luigi's Mansion 3, you don't need anything more than that.
Yeah. Oh my god, this would be good. Luigi's Mansion, he's Mario's brother. Wow, I would love if that was the frickin' title. So anyway, this one is set in a hotel. No Daisy.
I know.
So sad about that. No
I know.
Daisy.
You know what? We might see her. She might make a cameo somewhere in there, but I do not think she'll be playable, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I love that idea, though.
Yeah, me too. So far we're just seeing that we're rescuing Toads, Mario, Peach, that kind of stuff, which is cool. But I mean, throw in other characters too, like expand those characters just a bit more.
It does look like we're going to have King Boo back in there.
Oh yeah, there was like a really cool sequence where he's like chasing Luigi down a hallway and he's like knocking stuff over. So let's talk about these new moves though that we're seeing. Luigi's got some new moves. he's got the slam, which is when you suck in the ghost, and then when you're doing enough damage to him, then you can just like whip him back and forth like you're Willow Smith and it's your hair, and then you can hit other ghosts with it too.
You have to spend money to upgrade to the Nene.
And then there is the suction shot, where you shoot out a plunger, and then you can connect to it and then pull things off. It opens up a whole bunch of puzzle solving potential and even combat potential, in my opinion, too. Rather than just, okay, let's suck and see if that moves things or whatever.
Yeah. A lot of these did seem to be evolutions of the upgrades that we saw in the 3DS version.
Yeah, and I think evolution's in the right direction, because honestly, I know a lot of people love that second game, but I was not so hot on that one.
Mm-hmm. What did you feel about the 2019, but no other exact like launch date of it?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised about that, because you would think that they would say like end of October or whatever, but they're probably still trying to figure out a few things in terms of marketing and release, because I went hands-on with that game and I played the demo. It feels really good. It feels really complete.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a technical issue when they're trying to polish things up. I mean, maybe on some stuff that's just not in the demo at all, but it ran great and everything felt perfect. Honestly, it was probably my favorite Nintendo demo that I played this week.
So I gotta ask, tell us about the demo. What did you do? How did it play?
Well, before I get into all that, though, I do want to mention the other new additions to this game. The burst is a new move that you have as well. That's a fart. It is a scare fart that Luigi does. We all know it. We're all thinking it. And then, of course, Gooigi, who is also used in puzzle solving. He's puzzle solving and couch co-op as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really happy to see that they're basically focusing on puzzles in this one.
Yeah. Also, I like the whole element of, like, he can't get wet or he can't go near fire. I like that.
Mm-hmm. And then they also showed off the Scare Scraper mode, which reminds me of the one in Luigi's Mansion 2.
Mm-hmm.
And they have, like, online and offline co-op for this mode as well. Looks like it'll add a bunch of replayability to this game. Do you remember you and we played a bunch of that Luigi's Mansion 2 online mode?
Yeah, I really liked it. It
was hard.
It was difficult. There was something that I had problems with when I was playing it in regards to the controls of the 3DS itself. I don't know if it was like a personal thing on that one where it's just like I couldn't get used to the circle pad versus like a dedicated joystick. So I'm really hoping that it now coming to the Switch, I will be able to get past all of that. And it seems like a lot of the features that they were talking about this were ones that were from the second game, but just enhanced and polished up a little bit, which I definitely appreciate.
So they also showed off a lot of environmental variety in this game as well, just from like the little snippets that we got. Lots of different color, lots of different traps. Like we saw like a movie set kind of thing outside, like flora fauna situation as well. Lots of brightly lit and dimly lit areas as well. So I'm pretty excited for this one. I wasn't super hyped on it just considering how I didn't like number 2 all that much, but this one has really turned me around on the series.
I'm super excited, especially to start playing the game co-op, so.
So yeah, going on to the demo, it really did feel great. The slam is the best addition. Like when I was playing that, I was like, oh, big old claps for whoever designed that and decided to put that in. Because it doesn't change, but I mean, it adds so much excitement when you are sucking up the ghost, because that's already exciting, right? You gotta hold back and you gotta make sure you're doing it right and you slide around the screen and stuff. But this just adds an extra layer of gameplay to all of that already. And then once you can do it and you're slamming enemies around, it just feels very satisfying. It feels like just throwing a really good punch in a fighting game or something, especially if you can hit surrounding ghosts. It's great.
Nice.
Yeah. And then the suction shot is really good too. It was hard in the demo, and I'm glad that the wonderful lady who was supervising my demo she was kind of, leaning me into the right path, because I was like, oh, I forgot you have a suction shot. Oh, I forgot you have this like rainbow light thing. Not the regular flashlight, but the rainbow one. You know what I mean? He's got a lot of stuff in his arsenal.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I remember with the second game, it became almost like an episodic, almost Metroid-esque evolution to exploring the place that you were going through. Like, you unlocked different areas and you would go back to the same area to get past something that was locked before.
Well, I honestly felt like the first game had more of that. The second game felt like it was more like chapters, and they would what is it, like warp you in and warp you out kind of thing, rather than you're going around this mansion and having like a Resident Evil / Metroidvania style progression. And that's why I love the first one so much.
Mm-hmm. Did they mention if they were going back to that chapter format or back to like the original format?
They did not. That would have been a great question for me to ask. Where were you on that one before I went to the damn show? I'm just passing the blame. It's fine.
It's okay.
It all did feel really good, and the ghosts are really well hidden. You can't really guess where they're at, except for probably some environmental cues that I just didn't pick up on yet because it was just my first hands-on with it. Mm-hmm. And there was one boss fight, and it's the guy that you see in the trailer, and he's got like armor on and everything. There's a couple of different layers to how you fight him, and it was really fun and not too hard, because his attacks are easy to avoid as long as you're paying attention to what you have to do. The puzzle in the fight was figuring out, how do I do damage to him? And I don't want to say how, because I want everybody to figure it out on their own, but it was great. When I figured it out, I was like, oh, okay, and then this is really satisfying. Oh, there's another form, and that kind of thing.
I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say it has something to do with using the plunger to suck off his armor.
Not telling you nothing. Not telling you nothing. You're going to have to wait until 2019 because we don't have a month.
Well, guess what? It is 2019. Tell me.
I'm not Nintendo. Do I look like a Mario?
You look like a Goomba.
Bitch, you know I don't. You know me.
Face reveal on Instagram at Oni_Dina.
Instagram has 2 underscores. I tell it every friggin' episode. How do you not know? I should put up a picture of a Goomba and be like, this me. What up, y'all? This me. So after the Luigi's Mansion 3, they were talking about Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Tactics, which is a really long title.
Yeah, I just called it Dark Crystal Tactics.
Yeah, Dark Crystal game. I could not believe this when I saw this. I knew it was Jim Henson by the puppetry, There's like a little, what do I say, like uniqueness to the way puppets move and their mouths move.
Yeah.
And then I was like, is this Dark Crystal? No way. And then I saw the gameplay and I saw the characters in the battle, and immediately I was like, this is Dark Crystal. No way.
Yeah, this was very surprising. I did not see this coming.
Yeah.
It does make sense. I was a little bit thrown off and confused. I was more thrown off and confused by the little Netflix logo in the very bottom corner of that. And I'm just like, wait, what are we watching here?
Yeah. I'm sure it's going to play into their series that they're doing on Netflix.
Yeah. Well, and I'm wondering if this is just like a precursor to future Netflix partnerships. Like, is this going to work 2 ways? If they're making a game that's going to be coming out for the Switch, are we going to see some Nintendo properties going to Netflix? Like,
I don't think so. And if I recall correctly, this game is actually a multi-plat title. It's just that they revealed it.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I think so. I'm not, don't quote me on that, but I'm almost positive during the hectic chaos that is E3 that I saw that on a poster or something like that. Just all the titles.
Okay.
So, anyway, cool. It's a tactics turn-based battle system, and they showed off particularly a character destroying a pillar, and then it knocks over and hurts enemies, so there's like environmental advantages, and that tells me that there is some depth to the battle system, which is nice.
Yeah, and I definitely appreciate tactics games with that kind of like environmental element to be taken into consideration.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite things in Final Fantasy Tactics was being a geomancer, and then depending on what terrain that you were on, you would do a different kind of elemental attack.
Mm-hmm.
So, environments! And then, moving on, I was surprised to see this so early in the direct. Laz. Link's Awakening.
I was surprised by two parts of this. I was surprised, yes, that it showed up so early. Also by the release date.
Oh, what was it?
September 20th.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, September. Hold on to your butts, y'all.
Yeah, another September one. I was totally expecting this to be like a November, December release with the way that they were like originally talking about it. So this really surprised me.
Yeah. One of my favorite things, though, that I saw from this little trailer and the tease was Breath of Fire fishing style. That's right, Breath of Fire, not Breath of the Wild. Breath of Fire, the best RPG that Capcom has ever made. Fight me on that, Dragon's Dogma fans. And I was like, oh, I just want that game so bad. I want more games in that series. And then they also introduced this new gameplay element of placing chambers that you earned in your adventure into your own maps, like piecemeal.
Yeah, I really like that. I like that idea.
Yeah, it was cool. I hope that that's an online thing where you can share your... Like, this would be a perfect Street Pass feature, right? Where you pass by somebody and you put up your element. What the hell? Dungeon. What words? What words these? And then you can share those things. I think that would be so great. Yeah. I wish Switch had
Switch had Street Pass.
Oh my god. This is bad.
You doing okay there?
I had to drink a water.
A water?
Water.
A water for a dollar? No, one thing that I did notice when they were showing this off, because I actually rewatched this just to see if there was anything I missed. There was a timer on the very bottom corner.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, so I think there is some sort of like, how fast can you get through here? It might be a ranking thing, like if you can get through under 3 minutes, you get your gold prize, or if it's under 5 minutes, you get your silver prize. I also see this being a time trial type thing, where very similar to the levels that you make on Mario or Mario Maker, you can submit a code out there from a dungeon that you make for other people to play and like run yours and see who can get the fastest time. Like, I have no idea if that's actually a thing, but I really hope so too.
I had the exact same thoughts as you on all of that. I think it sounds like a nice little fun game mechanic that you have some control over, and that's always fun. Player choice is always good.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this art style? I don't know if we've really talked about the design of the characters too much, but do you have thoughts on that?
It's starting to grow on me. Like, at first I was a little reserved because they looked like a bunch of Pop Funko characters. There's definitely a plastic, like, toy element to it, but when I think of, like, I think back to when I played the Game Boy version, and it fits. Like, the more I think about it, the more, like, it seems right for this game. So, with the spirit of it, switching between 2D and the top-down, and it's definitely different, but I think it is a good change.
Gotcha. For me, I liked the art style as soon as I saw it. I like this, like, very toy clay aesthetic. But as you mentioned, with the eyes looking like pop figures, of which I'm not really much a fan of pop figures. I've seen a couple that I think are really cute, but in general, they're just not my thing.
Yeah.
I do wish that the characters' eyes were a little different. Rather than everybody having beady eyes, I wish that there was at least colors to it or something.
I think it is a very good homage to the original Game Boy version.
Okay, sure. So I played the demo for this one as well, and I don't know. I don't think that this is a particularly great game for a demo, just because with Zelda games, for me, I always take my time and I'm looking around, paying attention to the environments, talking to people, all that, and you only have so much time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get too much out of this. There were frame rate issues, though, for sure. And it is still in development, and it is a Nintendo title, and a Zelda one at that. So I'm sure they're going to be working these things out, but that was kind of surprising to me.
Yeah. And I'm in total agreement with you when it comes to, like, trying to play a demo of a Zelda game. I remember you and I went to the Switch, not unveiling, but, like, the Switch tour that they were going around for the different cities. And I remember sitting down and playing Breath of the Wild on the Switch before the console had even come out. And the demo did not do that game justice, because you had 15 minutes, you were stuck in like the very beginning of the game and told, hey, go explore, you can do whatever you want to. But the core enjoyment from a game like that isn't the story, it is the adventures that you make for yourself when you get to the mid-tier level of the game, and you can start coming up with your own strategies and a better understanding of like the controls and everything.
For me, the early game was actually the best times that I had with Breath of the Wild, where I was like, I was getting a hang of the controls, I was not confident in my battle abilities, and I was just terrified to go anywhere. I was like, what is out there? You know what I mean? And I was just sneaking everywhere and taking my time everywhere, and then I see a dragon in the sky, and I'm like, what the fuck is that over there? There's so much stuff in this world. That was my favorite.
But that didn't happen in the demo. That all happened. You can't get to that point within like the first 15 minutes of the game. So that's why I'm thinking like Zelda games are very hard to kind of demo in that regards, especially when you want to do something like that.
And this one also, I think, is like a top-down game where like the gameplay. Like Breath of the Wild at least had different gameplay to it, and you were feeling different as moving around as Link and jumping and climbing everything. With this one, you're just moving around and you're just doing a little sword swipey, and it feels the same.
I'm just thinking of Breath of the Wild. Oh, hey, look, it's raining. That's so fun to have this weather. Why am I slipping on this cliff edge?
And then you're like, oh, what's that shining weapon over there that I see in the rain? Oh no, that is telling me that lightning is about to strike that, and I am dead now. So many good moments in that game. Anyway, this game is looking pretty alright, and yeah, I'll be picking it up.
Yeah. September 20th.
I was kind of surprised though. So it doesn't have like a on the overworld, right? The overworld seems to move the camera with Link. So if you're kind of moving around in a little bit of frantic movements, the camera also moves around a little bit frantically, which was just a bit disorientating for me. I'm not sure if I'm getting it across properly in words, but like for example, with a dungeon where each like room is just it's an isolated room, right? So the camera doesn't move, so then your character moves throughout the level without the did I say that right? Your character moves without the camera moving in the dungeon like that, because it's a room. On the overworld, you just kind of move a lot. I don't really recall, say, just like a recent top-down Zelda, like A Link Between Worlds. I don't recall the camera being like that, but maybe they're still working out the camera too.
It might be something that they're trying right now and just trying to get a sense of, is this something they want to implement?
Yeah, I'm sure things like sensitivity on that are going to be fine-tuned. Nintendo usually gets down the feel of the game really well, so I'm not concerned about that. But I still did want to mention that in my impressions. And also, I think I forgot to say it before, I'm going to be writing articles up on all of these things with more detailed impressions and less jimble-jamble words right now off the top of my head. So do stay tuned to our website for all of that. Yeah. And afterward, they showed off trailer for Trials of Mana, releasing in early 2020, a full-on 3D remake of Seiken Densetsu 3, the third entry in the Mana series. This slayed me so hard I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
So, a bit of a personal story. I watched the Nintendo Direct with my wife, and she's always very fun to watch directs in like video game conferences with, because I've given her full reign to be as sassy or sarcastic as she wants to be during it. This trailer like stopped her in her tracks, and I got a sense of like genuine excitement and just joy.
How much does she love Carly?
All of it. This was a huge surprise for me, and I'm so happy to see this.
Me too. It looks so beautiful, the way that they did the art style and the colors. It has made me feel a way.
And also the fact that Square did their conference right before this, and then they didn't like mention this at all. It just kind of heightened that sense of holy crap, this is a thing.
Yeah, and this is a multi-plat game, but they did prioritize it as being on the Nintendo Switch. It looks so great. The aesthetic of the original game in pixel art is translated so well to this new art style that they're doing in 3D.
I cannot wait to play this.
Yeah, me too. So I'm not so much a person who is like, ooh, I want a remake of this and a remake of that and blah, blah, blah. But there is, I think, genuinely one remake that I've ever wholly wanted, and that is this game, Seiken Densetsu 3, because I have loved the story and the characters and the world building for that game. But the battle system, I think, was just like pushing the Super Nintendo a little too much, and there would be times where you would swing and you wouldn't hit the enemy, even though you were fully charged up and stuff, and there were just some bugs and general things like that. And I was like, you know what? This is a game that really deserves like a second chance, and especially a Western release.
Yeah.
So I was incredibly excited to see this being announced. If you and I were sitting next to each other watching this direct, I would have turned to you and like put my face as close to your face and just screamed.
No, I know you. You would have turned around, screamed, and then started slapping my arm as hard as you could.
Yep. That's true. Not a falsie.
And then they follow this up by saying, oh, hey, here are the original 3 games that you can now play on the Switch, too. They're out now. Have fun.
Collection of Mana is now out on the eShop. And a physical edition is coming sometime soon this year. I can't remember what the dates are, but it's on retailers now.
Like, goddamn, talk about your 1-2 punches.
I know! It completely blows my mind that a Super Nintendo game in 2019 is being localized. I honestly thought that Seiken Densetsu 3, aka, we have a name for it now, Trials of Mana. I honestly thought Trials of Mana would never be localized because of those issues. Now, I already own the JP edition of Collection of Mana, but I think I'm going to have to pick up the Western one too, so I can see what the official translation is like.
Do you think that because of this, there's hope for a Mother 3 sometime soon?
I don't know, that's a different ballpark, it's a different game, it's a different sport. Mother 3 is definitely going to come, it's just like a matter of when.
It's a different sport, like Golf RPG.
Oh, have you ever played that? The
I've
Golf
wanted
Story?
to.
You should.
It looks like so much fun.
You absolutely should. It's gone on sale once or twice, and it's not even that expensive. It's, I think, like 15 USD. Yeah, it's great. So, I did have to say also that I had an appointment with Square Enix. Big ol' shout outs to our PR guy because he was encouraging me to make this appointment. Because, of course, they couldn't divulge what was happening.
Right.
He was just like, listen, you want to make this appointment. And I was like, okay, but because, we're trying to figure out our schedule and like time is tight. Clearly, I packed my schedule so that way I could fit in as much stuff and get as many things done as possible. Here I am about to make an appointment for a company I, of course, love. However, it's for something that I don't even know if it's a Switch game. I don't even know if it's a game. You know what I mean? The guy is just like, you want to make this appointment. Basically like a mobster. So I did it, and big ol' shout outs to him. I'm so incredibly thankful for him getting us this appointment because of how personally invested I am in this.
That is great.
I got a private hands-off demo of the game being demoed to me by the producers and developers of Trials of Mana, the remake. And I did an interview with them as well. And I was able to ask them lots of questions about the remake and the collection of mana in the West. And they shared some really interesting information about like the coding of the Super Nintendo version. I was particularly interested in that, so I definitely asked them. And certain things about localization. So do stay tuned to our website, of course, for that exclusive content coming up soon.
That's going to be a fun read.
Yeah, I can't wait to share it with everybody. I'm really excited about all the things I learned about and was just able to do this week. And I'm really excited to share it with everybody.
Cool.
Yeah. If you freaked out about this game like I did, then you and I are family, okay? Oh man, when the direct was going on, I was in the media lounge with like pretty much all the other media. Lots of people were watching the Nintendo Direct, and the dudes from Game Explain were just a couple of seats down from me. And as soon as all this happened, I like ran over to them. I was like, "Mana, y'all, mana!" I was like jumping up and down. And I mean, we introduced ourselves before, so that was like not their first introduction. But I think
no, I want to believe that is the first time you guys have met.
No. I walked up to him. I was like, "Hey, nice to meet you, and thanks for sourcing my translations and stuff." They were really cool. That one guy, I can't remember his name. I'm such a jerk. The one guy with like the really deep voice on Game Explained, do you know what I'm talking about? He's got a British accent. He is so lovely. He's such a tiny little precious boy too when you see him in person. It's crazy because it doesn't match his voice, you know? Just a tiny precious boy. I think he's like 18 or something. He's not 18, but he's a fetus basically for me.
Oh, we're so old.
No, we're not. It's just that 20 years ago, well, not 20, wait a second, hold on. The age of 20 feels like a few years ago. However, it was much longer ago than that. That is the concept that is weird. We're not that old. Don't do the, oh, we're so old thing. Because I hate that thing. I think that it separates generations, and then that is only gearing us up as a generation to become the next, like, crappy generation where they're like, you younger people do this thing, and then in our day, we bootstraps, or whatever. I think it's stupid.
You know, you can say that as much as you want. I still don't get Fortnite.
Sure. I do find Fortnite obnoxious. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to our listeners. I think it's cool if you play it. It's just that it's not for me. I find it obnoxious. Not I think that it sucks. I just think that not for me. Oh my god. Mana series. I love it. Now I'm going to look over in Capcom's direction and be like, okay, so where's Breath of Fire, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
You're remaking everything else.
Moving on to our next thing, we got a nice little teaser that Witcher 3 Complete Edition is coming in 2019 to Nintendo Switch. The rumors were true!
I am so excited for Switcher 3.
Switcher 3. Hey, girl, that's good. Have you played The Witcher yet?
I have, actually.
Oh, do you own it?
Yeah, I got the Wild Hunt edition on sale for the PS4 like ages ago. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's very tactical, and it is one of those deep lore games that you can totally get yourself engrossed into.
Yes.
It also has that same problem that I had with Final Fantasy VIII, which also, that's now coming out to the Switch. Thank you.
We have a schedule, jerk.
I found myself spending way too much time playing Gwent with everybody.
Oh, yeah, they even released that separately from the game.
It's its own thing now. So, yeah, very excited about this.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be picking it up because I already own it on the PS4. My husbando played it, and he loves it to bits, and he is very excited that it's coming to the Switch, but of course, he's not going to replay it or something. He's already got it on the PS4. Yeah. But that world is just so engrossing. He's a huge fan of Western RPGs, like classic Western RPGs like Baldur's Gate, recent ones like Divinity, Original Sin. So if you have never played The Witcher before, but you liked Zelda for the gameplay and stuff, and then you're into the world building and moral choices that some games can bring to the table, like say some of the Mass Effect series, except done a little bit better. And not saying in storytelling wise, I'm saying introduced as a gameplay concept, because with Mass Effect it was always like, do you choose being good or do you choose being bad? Basically, I'm oversimplifying it, right? But that's kind of what it was. With The Witcher 3, at least, it is much more complex than that. Lots of if this then that situations happen in that game. It's a great time sink. You can just shove that screen right in front of your face, put some headphones on, and lay in bed and play it all night.
Oh man, I don't think I will pick this game up when it comes out, because in the same way as you, like I already own the game, but I do see myself picking this up like maybe next year when it goes on sale or something like that, just for the portability aspect of it. Speaking of Western RPGs, did you catch the announcement for Baldur's Gate 3?
Oh yeah. It's going to be made by the guys that did Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, which is, I mean, God, what better news could that have been for Baldur's 3 than that? You know what I mean? Like, there's no better modern team currently to make that game than that team of people. I'm sorry, I can't remember the developer studio. And sort of on that topic, I don't think this wasn't at E3 or anything, this is before E3, but like all those games are coming to Nintendo Switch. Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, Planescape, Neverwinter Nights, those are all coming to Nintendo Switch this year.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about the demo and just kind of going like, oh, this knight is sick. What has he got? Oh my god, he's turning it into an Illithid. What? Mind flayers for days, bro.
Those games work really well in the Switch because, especially if they integrate touchscreen controls, depending on their UI, right? Sometimes it's easier to just like touch something and then move back to your buttons or something like that. I mean, it totally depends on the game, but I mean, regardless of that, the portability of being able to just get through a lot of that and get to read a little bit of the story in bed or something, it goes so good with the Switch.
Yeah.
So after that, they did a nice little feature for Fire Emblem Three Houses, which is a bad title. Not title as in game, but title as in words.
I think it's okay.
I really hate the abbreviation. Feth. Yeah. Gross.
No, I liked it. It gave a very quick overlay of what the major conflict or the major dilemma in the conflict for your character is going to be, which kind of showcases the complexity in the narrative.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that it took them this long to introduce that, because when they first introduced it, it was like, oh, okay, they're focusing on this. Then, like, the second big trailer that they had, I was like, okay, but where's the conflict? What's the story? I get how I can date my students, you weirdos.
Fire Emblem High.
They're prioritizing waifus and husbandos in that game. They know what that audience is about.
Exactly.
I don't know, man.
No, I've just got 3 more character rankings to go up to pair off these characters.
And then we can have child. So that trailer in the direct said to me, more color, more drama, more older.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And again, going to what I was saying before, this is coming out July 26th. It's literally next month. And they didn't spend a lot of time with it. They didn't need to showcase a bunch of new features. It was just a very quick minute 30. Here's a trailer. It's flashy. It's going to be cool. Give me your money. I'm Nintendo.
Yeah, every couple of days anyway, leading up to release, they've been introducing a new character in the game. And then every once in a while, there's some new gameplay details that come out as well. So they're trying to hype it up,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
In terms of design, I loved the ram horns on, I think her name is Edelgard. That was her name.
Yeah.
I loved that. And I liked her dress, too. It was very regal.
The leader of Team Valor?
Nothing's coming to my brain. Sorry, I'm such a fake capital G gamer.
I think when I play this game, I will be going with House Instinct.
Is that Upside Down Boy?
It's whoever the yellow one is.
Yes, Upside Down Boy. I don't know his name.
Yeah.
That's his name. Upside Down Boy. Oh God, because you've seen the main promo image, right? The one that's on the box art and everything.
Oh yeah.
It's so weird that he's upside down like that. It looks goofy as shit. I saw some fantastic fan art on Twitter. One of our commenters linked it actually in the comment section on one of the articles months ago, and I wish I could remember who it was, but like they showed just 2 panels, and it was the 3 characters like doing that pose, and then the next panel was like the 3 of them as if they were on doing a photo shoot, so there's cameras and stuff, so it looks like a behind the scenes kind of thing, and it showed Upside Down Boy hanging on like wires so he could be upside down doing that, but then he's like hanging upside down like a goofy guy, and he's got his legs all weird, and then the 2 of them are the I don't know, stoic guy and girl are just looking at him like ugh or whatever. And I was like, oh, I love fan art. But going back to this trailer, I was getting some, for all of the JRPG fans, getting some Radiant Historia vibes from that Dragon Child Sage girl. Anybody else there? Recently played Radiant Historia. When did it come out on the DS, 3DS? I don't know, a year and a half ago or so?
I can definitely see those connections.
You never played the game. What are you talking about?
I've seen it.
What does it look like?
It looks a lot like the characters from Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Oh my God, you are such a BSer. Have you played a game before in your life? Your video game you've played that many?
I have pushed an A button.
Where's the A button? Is it the button on the bottom or is it the button on the right?
It is on the controller. Obviously, that was a trick question. It is on the keyboard, the superior gaming device.
If you had a gaming keyboard, you would break it. A gaming computer. You'd tinker with it too much.
I would. I'm happy with my Switch.
I did want to say about the dialogue and the language that they were using. Tonally, it was kind of strange for me. I just watched the trailer before we started recording, so I need some time to sort of think about it. But my instant thought is that they're going with proper speech sometimes and sometimes not, and it feels linguistically awkward for me, and I can't put my finger on why. So let me think about it. Maybe I'll come up with some thoughts on this next week.
Okay.
There was one particular line from Upside Down Boy where he said, like, we reach out our hands in friendship so we can open our true hearts to one another. And I almost canceled my pre-order. There's just that sucks.
Too much anime cringe for you?
I don't know. Like, that's the thing about trailers like this, right? Is that could just be super out of context cringe rather than normal anime trash cringe, which I love. But maybe just being out of context like that.
It's a blurry line between those two.
Yeah. So I don't know. So I'll play it and I'll see how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And then they showed this like kind of lame Resident Evil trailer thing.
And they made like a big deal about it too. They were just like, hey, you can play your game anywhere. Maybe you would want to play your game like this. Which is just breaking and entering. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Nintendo is supporting, B&Es.
Like, would you like to break into this abandoned house and sit down on this couch and get staph infection? Now you're a real zombie. Yeah, so Capcom definitely plunked down some good money for that real estate.
For that spotlight.
Yeah.
It's okay. They'll make it all back when they sell all 3 of these games at full price, because that's what they're going to do probably.
Yeah. So with the trailer though, it showed like 2 people walking up to a house, and with the way that the house was, it had sort of like a Southern vibe, Southern American vibe. So I thought they were going to announce Resident Evil 7 for the West or something. But then it was just the 3 games that we already know about that are already out, plus 5 and 6 also coming this fall.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh.
I'm sorry. The atmosphere of that entire thing, and I was like ready to give them like a D, like C- pass for like the atmosphere combined with Resident Evil, the Resident Evil remake, like the one for the GameCube. And I was like, okay, these, I see where they're going with this. This is fine. But then they cut straight over to Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6. And I was like, nope, you lost me. Nope.
So I went hands-on with those games.
Did they offer you Purell right after?
I mean, you need that for literally every controller that you're touching. There's a lot of gross people there, my god. You would not believe the kinds of human scum peoples that are living on this earth.
I was actually going to ask you this off the podcast, but did you have any like con plagues that you brought back with you, or any like E3 sickness or anything like that? Because I hear that those places are like a petri dish.
It might be incubating deep inside me right now.
This is how the super virus is created.
No, really. The incubation period is like 6 days or something before you genuinely get sick. So we'll see next week, huh? But anyway, like as soon as I played RE6, that was the first one I played. And especially having not played that game since it originally released, and then recently having played Resident Evil 2 Remake a lot. Laying hands on RE6, I was like, that's a bad game. That game feels bad.
Oh, man. I was so hyped when that game first came out. I was so misguided. Shame on me. Shame on me. I should have known better.
I don't know. Shame on Capcom for that. Like, I appreciate that they wanted to go super schlocky Hollywood with it. That I was cool with, but the gameplay just wasn't there, fam.
1 to 2 words. T-Virus Rex. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, God, I forgot about that.
Yep.
That is something that needs to be in the Parasite Eve. Parasite Eve had the T-Rex thing.
Yep.
Man, I want another entry in that series and not be like the third birthday.
You know what? I would be okay with if they ported that one over to the Switch.
Oh, Parasite Eve? Hell yes.
Yeah.
Hell yes. Even number 2. Number 2 has a lot of faults, but it has a lot of things that are also really cool about it.
So, fun story. I still have yet to actually sit down and beat an entire Parasite Eve game because it came out at that time in my life where I wasn't allowed to play M-rated games. Thanks,
remember
Mom.
that. That was so funny. That was so funny because I would go to the stores and I would rent the games.
Yep.
And you couldn't do it.
Yep.
It pays to have parents that aren't paying attention.
Thanks, Mom.
So after that, we get Travis striking again, Henshin with No More Heroes 3.
I didn't even know that this game was out. What is this No More Heroes game again? I've never heard of it.
So it's a story. It's a post-apocalyptic story because there are no more heroes in the world, and you have to grow crops. It's a farming simulator.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like Harvest Moon in a little bit.
Yeah, it's Harvest Moon, but it's like Harvest, the blood moon rises once again. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. No More Heroes 3. Awesome.
Yeah. I did not think that this game was going to happen so soon at all.
Yeah.
They introduced it as a 2020 title.
Mm-hmm. I have my suspicions they've been working on this for a while. I am a little concerned. Like, I've got mixed feelings on this trailer. On the one hand, it looked awesome. Like, it was the same sort of feel that I wanted to get out of the game as far as, like, the dialogue was concerned. But when they actually showed whatever that action clip was, I don't know if that was supposed to be actual gameplay or just like an FMV interpretation of it.
I also took umbrage with that as well, but continue.
Yeah, but I mean, they were fighting these weird robot things, but there was no, like, there was no weight to the attacks that Travis was making. Like, you didn't see any blood, you didn't see any sparks, you didn't see anything like that.
It was a cinematic trailer. It was a cinematic trailer with a couple of icons thrown on screen to imitate actual gameplay. And I don't know if it was like deceptive or trying to be like indicative of what the game was. Not homage, just indicative of what the gameplay is, because it was not convincing as an actual gameplay trailer. So I don't think anybody with like clout would really think that was genuine gameplay.
Yeah. I would understand if they put those that symbolism in there as a way to kind of show that, hey, this is going to be more of a classic No More Heroes feel when you're actually playing the game, because they did just come out with their completely different style.
Right, and that's exactly how I took that. Like, after I was like, man, this is kind of lame that this is, that weird blend of cinematic and actual gameplay, which it wasn't. But once I got over that, I was like, oh, okay, this is showing you, yes, we're bringing back wrestling moves and these like QTE things. We also heard, I think, post-show that there is optional motion controls for those.
Okay.
Yeah, which is great. Like, give people options,
Right.
Separate from that, the whole tone is there. The voice acting is there. You know what I mean? So I am optimistic for this game, for sure. Also, the friggin' Henshin thing was so great. It was so great.
I really hope that is like an unlockable costume or something like that in the game.
I hope that it's actually a gameplay thing, because, right, so we
like
get...
an element?
Yeah. We get, like, aliens invading.
Missile boobs.
Missile boobs?
Yeah.
Like Tank Girl?
No. I'm sorry. I might be getting this confused with Daemon X Machina, but I could have sworn there was a bit where he was like flying towards the main thing, and then all of a sudden his chest like opened up, and all these missiles just like flew out of it to attack or something.
I think that was Daemon X Machina.
Okay. Well, foreshadowing missile boobs.
Yeah, I've only watched this genuinely like a quarter of a time, because I was so busy when it was actually going live, and then I tried to watch this right before we started recording, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Despite being at E3, I actually have no idea what has happened at E3.
Yeah.
So going back to the story, there's like aliens, right? And then Travis did mention this. I don't know if it's like a bit of a hint at what the story is going to be about, but he said he's the last hero around. So is this no more heroes left kind of thing? Where he's saving the world from an alien invasion?
Obviously, I'm taking this as this takes place in the world of Wonderful 101 after nobody bought the game anymore.
That would be great. Suda Goichi is the perfect kind of crazy dumb to do something like that. As we saw with this trailer, right?
Right.
Oh, and I loved the imagery with Sylvia at the end. Sylvia's back, by the way, with the cherries.
That was so weird. That was weird.
Not really. Like, if you've played the first two games, then you can recall how she sort of toyed with his masculinity.
Uh-huh.
And so that was obviously what she was doing. And, like, it faded to black right before she was about to flick one of the cherries.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot. So afterwards, we got hit with Contra 1-2. There is a Contra collection available now on the eShop. That is 10 Contra games and a 74-page e-booklet.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty sweet. Also, I can't remember if it's like 15 or 20 US dollars. That's a good deal.
Yeah.
Like, good job, Konami. How often do you get to say that sentence?
Never.
And then they revealed also a brand new game in the Contra series, Contra Rogue Corps. I also went hands-on with this game.
Did you? How was it?
It was quite fun. Yeah.
Really?
It did feel pretty good. This was like they called it a pre-gold release, which means that it's really close to being certified and everything. So it's basically the retail game, the little bit of polish, not yet. It felt really good. Lots of different options and stuff. But I'll be writing up my impressions with a lot more details. I took a lot of really good audio notes on this game.
Cool.
But something that they definitely highlighted for Switch is that there is local, wireless, and online co-op.
Nice.
Yeah, that's always good to hear, local wireless co-op. That's a feature of the Switch that I think, needs to get used a little bit more. Everybody's got their own screen. Everybody's got their own Switch. Switch is selling like hotcakes. People got them now.
Gotta love that couch co-op.
And then we jump right over to my sweet bae, Daemon X Machina.
Nice.
Yeah, I was afraid this was like just gonna be dead,
Yeah. I was much more hyped on this trailer than I was like the past couple of times they've talked about it. Like it seemed a lot faster, a lot more energetic. It was nice to see a launch date on it. Again, September.
Septiembre.
September 13th. It's coming around.
And it does look a lot faster. Max knows what's up. What up, Max?
Right?
So I am so excited to see how things have changed from the demo that we had earlier in the year to the final release date. I am so excited because I love super fighting robots. Love them. I love robots and anime trash and husbandos and waifus and stupid, fast, flamboyant attacks. And this whole trailer of Directs was full of that crap. Love it. It's so Japanese. And then they showed off, holy crap, nobody expected this, Panzer Dragoon?
Speaking of holy crap Japanese.
Yeah, coming in winter.
Yeah. I think it was odd that they didn't give an actual like date to it. They probably haven't finished the game and they know it's going to be coming around this time, but they don't want to say whether it's 2019 or 2020.
So, I got some thoughts on this though.
Okay.
The brief gameplay that they showed off looks really on point. There's a lot of great colors. Visually, it's a little rough, but it's definitely still in development.
Yeah.
At the very end, when you see the companies who are working on this, being published by Sega probably because it wrote Sega down there, but then I saw Forever Entertainment SA being listed on there, and I thought, oh no, because I hated their other games for Switch, like Fear Effects Sedna. That was one of my... that was a game that I legitimately...
Wasn't that one of the games that they actually, like, put on the title? I was like, hey, from the makers of...
Did they? I didn't remember that they did
so.
anything like that. I don't remember that at all, really?
I might be, like, interpreting my own memories into here, but...
You mean
I could have
lying?
sworn I saw that.
Interpreting my own memories? You should be a lawyer. So I was very intrigued, and then immediately afterward, I was like, whoa, put my guard up. Put my guard up, fam. So I don't know about this one. I'm thinking, considering what Forever Entertainment has worked on before, and I don't know if they're developing it. Maybe they aren't developing it, and they're involved in some other ways, because there's other companies listed down there. I'm thinking that this is going to be a smaller title, like a $20 title.
Yeah.
Spin-off or something like that. So
yeah,
we're going to have to see, but I'm just letting you all know. I know probably certain people are very excited about Panzer Dragoon being a series coming back to the limelight, but just be on your guard. And I'm so sorry if anybody from Forever Entertainment is watching this or listening to this. I just got to say I didn't like any of the games that you guys had made before. Certainly not a criticism of you guys personally or anything. Just,
we'll just have to see.
I gotta be real. I gotta be real, like real emotion, like Yuna from Final Fantasy II when she sing about that. What can I do for you? What can I do for you? Do you not remember that song?
I do. I'm just giving you your moment on this one.
Listen, I don't need a moment, all right? You don't need to give me a moment because my whole life is moments. So afterwards, then, they do a little bit of a Pokemon SNS reminder, which was nice. Didn't go on too long.
Yeah, I feel like it was good to make mention of the fact that, hey, we talked about this earlier this month. We're not going to talk about it a whole lot here. But just so you know, here's this waifu you can have. Okay, we're going to go. Here's the Astral Chains.
Nessa is a beauty too pure for this earth. I love her.
You and all of Twitter right now.
As soon as she appeared in that direct, I immediately went to Twitter and I was like, guys, start your fan art right now. Throw it at me. I love her. And then they jumped right over to my sweet bae, Astral Chain. They show off this like Neo Tokyo Blade Runner city. And my boy cop is not wearing boy shorts, which I'm still disappointed about, and I'm probably going to choose the girl. I need boy shorts. I'm a boy cop. This also was a cringy anime AF trailer with like a whole bunch of dumb voiceover of the blessing is actually a curse. And it's like, come on. I did a colossal eye roll when that happened. Like my eyes almost got stuck back there.
But you gotta be honest. It's the kind of anime cringe that you come to anime for. You know what you're expecting. You know what's going to be here, and some part of you just like, oh, just give me this cringe. Just give it to me.
So
Astral Chains.
I'm mostly. You keep calling it the wrong frickin' title, dude. You just called
Astral Chains.
It's
not change. Chains.
It's not plural. You keep calling it wrong. Did you listen back to the last episode where I edited?
I did.
How wrong you were?
I appreciate that. It's okay. It's I just take that as retribution for all of the little editing things I put into our Let's Play back when we were doing that.
So I'm mostly cool though with this level of dumb cringe just because it kind of goes along with how dumb the gameplay is and over the top things are as well. So hopefully the writing is better than that, because I definitely expect more out of the guy that is the director. I mean, he was the level designer, I think, on Nier Automata. So not like he had anything to do with the writing, but he certainly worked on a project that had a fantastic aesthetic and a fantastic team of writing. So hoping that garbage just gets a little bit cooked. But man, this game looks good. Like, they showed off a whole lot more of the fighting, and they showed off some antagonists, which is basically like a guy from Monster Hunter. And then these like cybernetic monsters coming out of another dimension and grabbing people. And then you go into Tron World, and I don't know. I'm on board. Like, I'm in the train, and take me. Take me. I'm Perfume.
I am very excited for this game. August 30th.
Which is basically September.
Right. It starts end of August, and then it all goes downhill from there as far as your wallet.
So they showed off all those legions, and they showed off all of the different ones that you can switch between and do different attacks with, so that way you can chain combos with them. Your Standamons, which I insist on calling them. Thank you, Max. God, I love our listeners. Like, visually, it looks so good, too. I don't know how they're, like, pulling these things off, but Platinum are the kings of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like more of my thing, though. I don't think it's too much your style of game. I'm sure you're going to play it and everything, but
oh yeah, absolutely.
It's okay. You don't need to mirror my hype. It's all right. Then they showed off some seemingly early gameplay of a like LA Noire 2 type game, but it's not actually called that. It's called Empire of Sin.
Mafia Simulator 2020.
Yeah, spring 2020.
Mm-hmm.
We have no idea what this game is.
Oh, yeah.
But it's certainly diversified what they had.
It was good to have that diversity in there. I mean, it looks like it's something of a twin-stick shooter with some sort of, like, city takeover mechanics. Like, you select different areas in the city that you want to expand your criminal organization into.
Ah, yeah.
And then, so it's probably something along those terms. It's probably... We're going to see a little bit more details on this later when they're talking about, like, indies for 2020.
Yeah. Do you think this is an indie title?
Maybe. I didn't catch who was actually developing it, so... But I definitely haven't heard of it beforehand, so...
Yeah, I thought that little glimpse of the map at the end was pretty intriguing because they showed off a bunch of different icons, so it's not just going to be, like, corridor-based... Well, it could be, but it's not going to be, like, level by level by level, which is fine design, but it matters for certain games. Like Contra Rogue Corps, that makes good sense. You can go through missions like that. But with a game like this, if you have like a world and you're trying to be like a mafia dude, you want to have a little bit of control of that world.
Yeah. It's probably going to, and this is all speculation, mind you, but it's probably going to have a lot to do with taking control of the actual heist that you go on to, and then taking over regions of the city to start your criminal organization, like illegal gambling dens, and there's probably going to be like missions to try to take out detectives that are looking into your stuff, or I see a lot of macro management combined with you actually like playing the game as a twin stick shooter.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to keep our eyes out for this one, and I'm intrigued for sure.
Yeah.
Then we're hopping right over to
Marvel Ultimate Alliance delayed.
What? Delayed?
Yeah, it was supposed to come out like mid-June, early July, wasn't it? I was surprised to see a fall 2019 launch date.
What? Wait a second. Hold on to your tits.
Yeah.
No, it's July 19. They didn't say fall. I just looked at it just now.
You sure? I could have sworn. Oh, I might be confusing that with the expansions. My mistake.
Galen's a fake gamer. So they showed off a bunch of new characters and a bunch of new enemies as well. I was particularly excited to see stupid crap like MODOK in there. This big old fat head.
There were a couple of the characters I didn't even recognize. The girl with the blonde ponytail who had the two shotguns on her back. I have no idea who that character is.
I also did not know who that was. I'm so sorry. Yeah. So sorry anybody who's listening to this.
But like she was on there for like 2 seconds and then went straight over to Ghost Rider. And I was just like, okay, that's awesome that he's here. But who is that again? And that is getting me excited because like I love games that make me ask that question and make me want to go and do more research into the things that I didn't know about. Especially when it comes to comics.
Yeah, I got nothing. I don't know who that girl is. Sorry. She's a Western anime girl for sure. She's got guns and I think she had an accent, like a Western accent. But she's jumping around like she's anime.
She is an anime.
Anime. Say it right.
Anime. Anime. But the expansions sound interesting. They specifically called out Marvel Knights, more X-Men characters, and the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, and that's starting in fall 2019. So that is what you're screwing up.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's why you were wrong, Galen. That is why you were wrong. We identified why you were wrong.
Because I looked at the wrong area. That's fair. And I think I even I missed it twice. I think I missed it when I originally watched the trailer and when I rewatched it earlier this morning. So I'm wondering if they even announced the launch date during the trailer.
They did. I just looked at it. You're just a sloppy. God, how do you wake up in the morning so wrong?
By making it feel so right. I have no idea. It's a lot of coffee and shame.
Relatable. So why don't you tell me a bit about this next game that suddenly appeared on here? It was basically a shadow drop.
Yeah.
I'm sure our girl Leanne is happy about that.
Yeah, no, they showed off Cadence of Hyrule, and they said that it was coming out on the 13th, and guess what I have been playing all this morning while not apparently looking up exact dates on releases for games.
Mickey Mania? For the Super Nintendo?
It's actually the painting one that they had for the Wii.
Epic Mickey.
Epic Mickey, yeah, that's the one.
It's no Mickey Mousecapade, I'll tell you that.
Cadence of Hyrule, ladies and gentlemen. So they talked about this a little bit, and it wasn't much there. It was just I believe it was just like a trailer that they were showing off, along with the launch date. I actually picked it up this morning and was playing it, and the game is fun, but the game is hard.
Why is that? Is it because you can't keep rhythm?
Well, most likely, but there was... When I was playing it, I was kind of distracted by how awesome the music is. Like, the music is fan-freaking-tastic. fantastic in this game.
Ooh, speaking of which, the music in Necrodancer is also great. It's on sale in the eShop right now for like $3 or $4. Go buy it.
Yeah, I picked. It's on sale for $4. I actually picked this up along with Cadence of Hyrule.
Cool.
Yeah, the game is a lot of fun, but there's a lot of quick thinking that you have to go into when you're playing it. I haven't played Crypt of the Necrodancer beforehand, so this is my first experience into the world. It was interesting that it's not so much thinking or trying to stay on beat with the tempo, it's thinking on beat with the tempo. Because a couple of times I was playing the game, and all of a sudden the monsters would hit me, and I'm not quite sure why, because I thought I was on beat and everything, and then it turned out that I was trying to anticipate the movement along with the movements of the monsters I was fighting, where in turn I have priority and I take a step forward. So I was stepping into their attack range without realizing they were attacking. So yeah, there's definitely a learning curve with the game, but it's an enjoyable one that I'm willing to put in the effort to figure out. So the game's a lot of fun, and I can already tell that there's a lot of heart that's going into this game.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the music, and hopefully you can buy the soundtrack separately.
Oh yeah.
Then they showed off Sonic and Mario at the Tokyo Olympics. I don't remember what the actual title is.
I think it's just that.
Okay. This game looks really pretty.
Yeah.
Lots of really, really nice colors being used. It looks, it just is a joy to look at.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they got a bigger budget for this because the Olympics are coming to Tokyo next year. But it felt like there was more hype focused on this game than previous entries have had. Yeah.
I agree.
Did you get a chance to play it while you were there?
You know it, girl.
Did you get to play as Bowser with Doug Bowser coming over your shoulder telling you to be Bowser?
Sadly, no. I did try out some of the new modes that they have in this game. They have karate and what is that called? Water snowboarding.
Skiing?
No, water snowboarding. Surfing. Shut up. Shut up. I don't know. Just it's how my brain works, all right?
I don't know what's worse, the fact that it took you that long to figure it out, or the fact that I couldn't come up with the answer that you were trying to say.
You're the wrong one.
I think we're both at fault here.
No, you. Oh my god, by the way, I just remembered this because I said no, you. On my flight back, I had the most precious flight attendant. She had the most serious case of Miss Swan voice that I've ever heard in my entire life. Legitimately sounded like Miss Swan.
That is adorable.
I loved her. So I tried out the karate. I was bad at that. I got beat by my demo guy immediately. The surfing, the water snowboarding was really good, but I think I need to still get the controls, the hang of the controls. That one's not an easy one to jump right into. Same thing with karate. But the Tony Hawk Pro Skater Mario Sonic Edition, skateboarding in the skate park, that one is really fun, and I did really good, and I beat my demo guy.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So suck it, dude. I don't know your name. There was another mode too, and I can't remember what it was. Oh, it was archery, because it ended on archery, right? So I was like, yeah, let's try this out. And the controls malfunction. They're like, uh-oh, that's a bug.
Oh, no.
And then the guy was like, please don't worry. We're working out the bugs. And the poor guy felt bad. I was like, it's okay. You're not doing the coding. This is, it's a beta. It's fine.
That's funny.
Yeah. And then there is another mode that they sort of teased in the trailer, and then they couldn't talk about or anything like that, but it was on the menu screen, and it's like some sort of pixelated thing. You can see pixel characters running. So there's going to be some new stuff that they'll announce sometime in the near future on that.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, I'll be writing up my impressions and stuff. So do check out Nintendo Everything for all that.
Awesome.
And then they started off this trailer so good, just with a voiceover, and the only indication of what you were hearing was when they referred to the company being Nook Inc. We finally got footage and details of Animal Crossing for Nintendo Switch.
New Horizons.
So you're going to be on a deserted island with a getaway package from Mr. Tom Nook.
For how many bells is it again?
If I remember right, it's 49,800.
Yeah.
So they showed it off, and it looks pretty cute. Looks kind of like how you would expect it to look. I'm sure they're going to polish up the visuals because this is a... Didn't they say spring? They say March? What did they say? March.
March 20th, 2020.
Yeah, I thought it was so strange that they had an exact date on that. Like, just say March. It's cool. Like, don't promise, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm sure they're going to be doing some changes. It looks fine, though, as it is, but I would like it to look a little nicer. Just because, you know, it's the first game to come out on new hardware.
Yeah,
series.
I don't know. I think this is kind of the same thing as the next generation of Pokemon. I think it's just like they're testing the waters to see how different they want to change the aesthetics and change the look and the feel of it compared to the previous ones, now bringing it onto a new system.
I totally disagree with you. It's just stupid.
So I thought the game looked good.
Yeah. I think Animal Crossing has its aesthetic down, and that's what we're getting. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to change anything, but I would like just like a little bit more texture here, or a little bit more like fanciness and attention to detail on some certain things. Like maybe the workbench has like a couple of notches in it. You know what I mean? From doing something on there. But like Tom Nook himself, he had like some texture to his little raccoon furs. It was cute.
Yeah.
With Pokemon, I think it was seriously like, we need a title out by the end of 2019, so we need to cut corners where necessary. Import all Pokemon from the other versions, you know? Well, not all the Pokemon, that's another story.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? It getting delayed to 3/20/2020. Maybe we will see a little bit more polish and detail on this.
Of course we will, yeah. But it's looking real cute and precious. Just definitely Animal Crossing for all you sick weirdos that love doing that.
This was the other game during the direct that my wife just absolutely went crazy about.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like she put down her phone and stopped whatever she was doing just to be like, "Oh my god, that flower crown."
That is so totally her. Yeah, I loved when the character in the trailer was like setting things up, and you could see them growing a little garden, and they're setting up their bench and hanging out their laundry to dry, and then they introduce that it rains and you're gonna have, you know, weather to deal with. They run over with like a leaf and umbrella, and they're taking their laundry down from hanging so it doesn't get wet. Been there, geez, like that is such a relatable feeling.
And also crafting. There's now crafting in this game compared to just ordering everything from catalogs.
I love how they picked up a whole tree into one shovel and then put it in their pocket. Just move that tree wherever you like it.
Yeah.
And rolling up snowballs, you can do the snowman stuff. You ever built a snowman?
I have, actually.
Cool.
I'm not breaking into a song.
So yeah, it showed the little girl. She was like picking up flowers, and then afterwards she was wearing a flower crown. So clearly you can craft gear. I wonder how they're going to integrate it with the mobile game, you know?
Probably not a whole lot now that I think about it. I mean,
no way. I think they're going to do it a lot.
Really?
Yeah, totally.
I don't see them doing it a whole lot. I think they really want to try to keep these two separated.
I mean, they will be separate, but I think they're going to do something that benefits you to play both games in a certain way.
Yeah. I don't know. Like maybe you can like send over your character from the mobile version over to the deserted island.
Then afterwards, they started to wrap up the show by showing off a big old sizzle reel of a whole bunch of different games. There was a Lovecraftian horror game in there that I'm pretty intrigued in, so I'm going to keep my eyes out for that. It was called Sea of something. I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah, I feel like we saw a trailer of that either earlier this year or like middle of last year.
Have we? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think this was I might be thinking of a different one. I think this is a multi-platform game.
It probably is a multi-platform game. However, considering your track record, you might be wrong.
Apparently, I've just been nothing but wrong this entire podcast. You know what I was excited or was surprised to see at the end was Mario Maker.
Yeah. They're going to close it out on that note.
Yeah, well, and I'm just surprised that they didn't make a bigger deal with just with the game in its entirety, considering that it comes out later this month. So
good job, Nintendo, for not wasting time. Freaking good
they
job.
They did have a lot of content. They did have a lot of stuff to put into here.
Yeah. And then they ended it with a fake ending of the most adorable Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, and this time King K. Rool hanging out together in DK's pad.
I love this.
It was so precious. I love the animation for this. I don't know who's doing the animation for this studio, but I loved it. And Diddy Kong, he pops the snot bubble that's coming out of King K. Rool's face. I just love their animations. They're so like their characters.
This entire trailer was awesome. It was
so precious.
So precious.
I love seeing the three of them interact too. Like Donkey Kong giving King K. Rool the stink eye, which is kind of coincidental considering King K. Rool's one eye is constantly flying out of his head.
I just also love both of their reactions to the jiggy, just being thrown across the floor.
Jiggy being thrown on the floor.
The jiggy?
What do you mean? When were they throwing the jiggy on the floor?
Yeah, it was what woke them all up and everything.
Oh, that's what woke them up?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that was the little golden thing that went flying across and clattered on the ground and made them all wake up and look outside.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I remember Diddy breaking King K. Rool's snot bubble, but that's all I remember.
Yeah.
But then Duck Hunt, the dog and the birdish.
I thought that was hilarious.
Fooling them. That was great. That was so adorable.
I'm so glad that they did that. It was the perfect... It was the fake out that I think everybody deserved.
Yeah. And it was perfect homage to King K. Rool's reveal. It was just It was just wonderful. They could not have executed this any better.
And all for the reveal that Banjo and Kazooie are coming to Smash. I don't think we actually said it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I was like, this is a lot of lead up here.
Yeah. I'm so glad to see them actually in Smash. They make the perfect sense to be in Smash, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about Banjo's eyes? His eyes are freaking huge.
I like him. I like the redesign of his character.
I love his redesign. Honestly, this is, again, Nintendo doing the other parties' characters better than the other parties themselves. Look at Mega Man, look at Banjo, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's perfect. My only problem is Banjo's eyes. I think that they're just a tad too big. Kazooie's are okay.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, he looks great. Remember what Banjo and Kazooie looked like in, what's that called? Nuts and Bolts or whatever?
I prefer not to. I prefer to block most of that game for my
It looks
memory.
like crap. They're just blocky, they were kind of trying to go with a new polygonal. That's what I'm trying to say there.
Yeah.
And then we also saw the stage too. It's the winding tower or whatever that's called.
Mm-hmm. It was a twisting tower?
Twisting tower. Okay. Maybe it's that. I have no idea. I just genuinely called it what I sees. I calls it Lexa sees it's.
But I liked seeing it rotate around, and I'm wondering how that's going to affect the actual stage itself.
Yeah, and Grunty's in there too.
Mm-hmm.
I love that first game so much. Just release it on the Switch. Just do that. You put Cuphead on the Switch. Just release those games on the Switch too.
Well, Microsoft and Nintendo have been talking for a while, and maybe we'll be seeing them coming back soon.
Yeah, clearly they've been making it happen too.
And I think that's part of the reason why this announcement got such an emotional response from people. Like, social media blew up on this reaction. Like, there are reaction videos for days.
Ugh, I can't stand reaction videos. Like, I know some of my friends, they do them and stuff. Some of my friends who are YouTubers. So, like, you know, don't hate the player, hate the game kind of thing. But I think that a reaction video is so lame.
Yeah. True. Personal preference aside, though, like, I feel like some people, when they saw this, they had that emotional investment of playing this game when they were a kid and just thought to themselves, okay, if they're coming to Nintendo on here and they were originally on Nintendo, if they're getting enough attention, is this something that could grow into something more? So
I think that's a terrible way to think about media, though.
True, but I'm not going to deny that might be there.
I think the thing that you're getting, you should be excited about if you like it, not the thing you're getting, oh, what does this lead to next? I really think that is an unhealthy way to think about media.
Mm.
And also, the thing that I feel about, like, reaction videos is just that they're not genuine. You know, maybe there's a kernel of genuine emotion in it, but then they're playing it up. And then the ones that get really big are the people that, like, are like, whoa, I'm so surprised I ripped my clothes off. Like, nobody does that. That's not, you know what I mean? But that's the one that gets really popular. And, you know, they make the faces like, like, oh, fuck.
The faces that will inevitably become the thumbnail for their YouTube video.
Yeah, like, as soon as I see those, I'm immediately, like, not interested in this channel. Tell me why, not interested.
I will admit that this was actually spoiled for me, and I'm a little sad by that.
Why is that?
I couldn't get out of the dentist appointment that I had been scheduled right when the direct was supposed to be, like, going live.
And somebody texted you or something?
No, so I drove home, got onto YouTube, and was about to click on the, like, I was searching for the direct, and the video right above it was Banjo for Smash, and I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
People ask me, why am I so invested in watching a conference live when I can just read up everything later? This is the reason why.
Yeah. I mean, they're making a conference for a reason, right? So if you actually care about the things, then you might as well watch the conference. They put effort into it.
I truly believe that a lot of these conferences and what they've involved into nowadays, there is an actual story and a flow to everything.
I think that sounds really pretentious, but I do agree with you, just on a less pretentious way. It's like art, man. It flows.
I want to go that far, but
it's got to flow. Like when you get a tattoo, it got to flow with the muscles. Otherwise, it's no good.
All right, moving on.
I'm sorry, you were trying to make a point, and then I just, like, took a dump in your mouth.
Banjo for Smash. I'm excited. I want to see more. I'm sure we'll see more soon.
Did you notice at the end of the trailer, too, they showed off Banjo and Kazooie's final Smash, and it's the Jinjos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the end game thing that you do in the first Banjo-Kazooie, and it, like, beats the crap out of King K. Rool, and then he goes flying, and then he, like, face plants into the earth, and then a rock falls on top of him. That's exactly what happened to Grunty at the end of Banjo-Kazooie. Just really nice. Nice attention to detail. That's something I really love being celebrated about Smash Bros. Is that they just revisions for the sake of accuracy all the time, you know?
I love it.
Me too. So we got 2 friggin' Smash characters announced in one direct. That's amazing.
Yeah. And you know what? I did call it last week.
What did you call it?
It was that Banjo was going to be one of the characters.
Did you?
Yeah.
Or were you wrong again?
No. You know what? Go back and listen.
I don't go back and listen to our what are these things called? Podcasts?
Wow. Thanks, audience.
I gotta edit them. Like, that's enough.
I'm just imagining you just showing up drunk and you're just like, what am I doing today? Am I doing the reviews? Let's do the reviews. Am I doing the podcast? Galen, you suck. All right, roll it. Next one.
Yeah, that'll be us on episode 100 when I'm just like giving it about 10 or 15%. And it's just like me showing up and being like, this guy sucks. Bye. I'll be in my trailer.
Also, I love how I made your voice like a 85-year-old chain smoker at the casino.
Yeah. You basically turned me into Walter Matthau.
Pretty much.
And then, so we heard recently, too, that this entire direct was shown to specific members of the press or whatever ahead of time, and that's where it ended. The Nintendo Direct that aired live finally showed off the real ending to the Nintendo Direct, which was...
Yeah, there were like 2 fake outs at the end of this one.
Yeah. Totally unexpected.
I totally thought it was just going to end after the Animal Crossing one and then maybe have like a surprise or anything like that. And when we saw Banjo, I was like, oh, okay, cool. That was a good smash. I was like starting to think about the press conference in the past tense at that point, and then they talked about this. So good on you. This was a general surprise. I like this.
So they showed off like a story teaser for the sequel to Breath of the Wild on Nintendo Switch. Hyrule Castle's basement is haunted, and it's getting a little rough around there. It looks like Zelda and Link are exploring ruins of Hyrule Castle, underneath the castle possibly.
Zelda sporting a new haircut, by the way.
Yeah. I really hope you can play as her, or there's like a co-op mechanic. That was something that I was hoping that they would do back before we saw Breath of the Wild. I recall Aonuma talking about like breaking conventions for the design of the game, and one of the like 3 or 4 things that they talked about was playing alone. So I'm wondering if that was like a scrapped idea for Breath of the Wild that they're going to be bringing into this one, where you can play as both characters and play co-op or something like that too.
You can switch between the characters on the fly, kind of like a Resident Evil 0 aspect, and they each have like different abilities.
Yes, but done better than that game.
Yeah, much better than that.
Because it's a great concept, you know, and especially if this is going to be a Zelda game that has more traditional dungeons and a bit more of a traditional progression system, I could see how that would work way better.
Yeah.
And I mean, this would be, I think, our first game where you play as Link and Zelda together. I would love that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So they're going down into like these depths of things. They find Ganondorf, which is awesome because we only ever saw Ganon, right?
Mm-hmm.
They find Ganondorf and he's like clearly in some sort of state of...
super mummified.
Yeah, super mummified, like sealing. Sealing as in like sealing a spell, not sealing as in okujo.
No.
Okujo, that's Japanese!
But the ceiling but the ceiling spell was going up towards the ceiling.
I don't like you. Also, okujo means rooftop. I said it wrong too. So I don't speak English or Japanese. My secret's out. I'm not a real gamer and I don't speak English or Japanese. Okay. There was lots of really interesting visuals in this, and I can't wait to see what this game is about. We're probably not going to hear a damn word about this.
Oh, yeah.
Until maybe next year spring. Maybe.
Yeah.
Like, this is a game probably coming out in 2021. You know what I'm saying?
If any, I think we'll see more details like late next year.
Yeah.
And we'll actually get a launch date on like either late 2021, mid 2022.
Yeah, depending on how big they want to go with this game.
Yeah.
Because, of course, it's going to be reusing a lot of different assets. A lot of things are already defined for them. So this will be a cheaper production, which is great. That's totally fine. Lots of people have been asking for, where's the Majora's Mask version of Breath of the Wild, you know?
Yeah.
And I think anybody would be pretty down with that. You know, reusing assets is smart where appropriate. And I think that they can do it with this one. I'm really excited to see, though. Like, that imagery, too, that they have of Ganondorf with, like, the, like, broken hand, like, spirit hand that's also mummified,
holding
him down.
This entire thing looked fantastic. Like, I was generally creeped out.
Yeah, like there's mystery there.
Yeah. Like, they got the atmosphere right. The hand that was coming down, there was like... It had that element of like fear mixed in with an element of mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it.
I'm really curious to know, like, whose hand is that then? Like, it has a totally different armor style to it. Is this like a Sheikah thing, you know?
I would not be surprised if it is, because the way that the bodies are actually, like the Sheikah bodies, or what were they, priestesses? The thing that gave you the spirit fragment at the end of every temple that you would find.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, you're right,
yeah?
and they were mummified.
Yeah, all of them were mummified. So I'm wondering if this is like one of them sacrificing themselves to seal the reincarnation of Ganondorf, to try to like stop what was going to happen, and it like failing, but it's like I'm starting to speculate on the plot. I should really stop.
That's fine. We don't know dick about this game. Let's do it. Speculate away. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, it would make sense if the spirit tried to seal away Ganondorf in an effort to try to stop whatever happened from Ganon happening. But by doing so, you actually let out the spirit of Ganon.
Right.
But so that's why you can defeat Ganon, but you still have the host body, which has just been in this element of like decaying stasis this entire time.
Yeah, and that's an interesting like twist take on how things have usually been for the story. It's usually been in a lot of titles where it'll be Ganondorf or somebody who represents his form of the true form, Ganon.
Yeah.
The true form is the true beast is Ganon.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited because I hope that this is a much more story-heavy game than Breath of the Wild. One of my very minor complaints is that there just wasn't too much story in that game, or at least for my liking. One of my favorite things was running around and learning the story and what happened before with Link.
Well, and I remember there was a video that I watched, and they were making an argument on why video game movies could never be done right. And they used Breath of the Wild as an example. And the example that they used was, tell me the story and tell me the plot of a Breath of the Wild. And then they explained the plot, and then they said, okay, now tell me what you did in Breath of the Wild. And it was completely more energized and different story to go along with that. So
that's interesting. I don't think that that's like proof that you can't do a video game movie.
No. That was just like, I'm just taking that excerpt from their argument and giving them credit for coming up with the excerpt.
Yeah. I think that is a great critical opinion and sort of analysis of why lots of things don't work where it's like a direct one-to-one or something. Like if you're like going to make a movie, if you're going to make a Zelda movie, I think you can do that. If you're going to make a Breath of the Wild movie, you can't do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to make a totally new thing. Like with Detective Pikachu. That's not really that game, and it's not really a Pokemon movie or something, but it is its own thing, kind of. And it turned out fine. From what I've heard. I still have not seen the film.
Sorry, you've been too busy going to E3.
Bringing it up like I'm like bringing it up. You jerk. You're being a jerk. Don't jerk me. All right? Don't give you permission. Gross. I wanted to point out, though, there was a really quick flash in this trailer where Link himself had his hand being like all covered in that spirit energy. And it was the right hand. Like on Ganondorf's chest. So I'm like, was it a past iteration of the hero that actually sealed him away like millennia ago or something like that? And that's why Link can only use his left hand now, or you know what I mean, for a sword battle? I don't even know. Like,
more likely this is going to be some sort of like Sheikah-esque companion in the vein of like Midna from Twilight Princess, and it's going to be a new gameplay mechanic. Like Link can now use this arm and can like use it in battle or use it to reach elements far away. So I see it being like a replacement for the Sheikah Slate. And then Zelda can get the Sheikah Slate to do her stuff. Figured it out. Done.
You congratulating yourself over there, you weirdo?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a regular Bethesda conference over here.
Oh god, I wanted to point out like the whole like Microsoft tweet later on where they're like, "You asked, we listened. Banjo is now in Smash." Did you see my tweet about that?
Yep.
I hate "you asked, we listened." It is so dumb.
Yeah. It does nothing. It does absolutely nothing.
Aren't we great?
Mm-hmm.
We did a good job.
You know what we did do a good job on? This podcast.
Wait, I'm still talking about Zelda. They also showed off.
Like we have to stop.
No, shut up. They also showed off the front of a temple in that, and I'm wondering, is it just like a screenshot, or not screenshot, but like a establishing shot for them? Mm-hmm. Because there were underground things that you could discover in Breath of the Wild. One of my favorite things was going, God, where was that? It was like northwest of Hyrule Castle, where you went down into this huge crevice. It's where you eventually got the tunic for that game.
Yeah.
And exploring down there was just great. I was just like, what am I going to find? Like, whoa, what are these huge ruins? What do they mean? And then, there's the goddess statue from Skyward Sword. Little environmental details like that establish world building are great. I can't stress enough how much I love world building in video games. That's why I think this medium is so special, because you can tell different stories with video games that you normally couldn't. I think that, for example, Nier Automata is a story that can only be told through video games.
Exactly.
So are we going to be getting some traditional friggin' dungeons in this game? I know that is something a lot of people were asking about.
Well, that is what I actually want to ask you. Because, of course, like at this point, we have a cutscene and nothing else, and this entire game is still in development. So instead of asking, what do you think, I'm going to ask you personally, which would you prefer? You would prefer traditional over open world?
Yes, because they already did open world, and it was great, and they did a good job with that. Now I want to see them, after they've learned what's gone on with that, go back to traditional dungeons. Like, I don't want to see all future 3D Zelda games be just basically Breath of the Wild 2. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And especially now that they played with a new concept and they made it successful, I want to see them try out newer things too. Even if they fail, that's fine.
Yeah. Do you think that they can go back to a more traditional format?
Yes.
Considering the success of their open world style?
Yes. I definitely think they can.
Okay.
Because I think that was the one big complaint that a lot of people had. It made sense why they didn't go with traditional dungeons, but I think a lot of people did miss it. Because those 4 divine beasts were not great dungeons by any mean. Like, the shrines were isolated, great, small portions of dungeons. And so I did get my fill of that. Yeah, I don't know. We're just going to have to see on that.
Okay. So here's my other question. Would you prefer to explore Hyrule again? Because obviously we did see what I believe is Hyrule Castle kind of like lifting up into the air at the end of that.
Yeah.
Or would you prefer to do the majority of the exploration and the gameplay somewhere else?
Somewhere else. We already have Hyrule Field and everything. We already have Breath of the Wild. That game is great, and it is fun to play and replay. We already have that. What about you?
I would like another open world game, but I would like a new realm to explore. Like, if we could somehow go to an alternate twisted version of Hyrule, where the geography is completely swapped around and, shuffled around. Or even if the castle lifted up into the air and then took you to a completely different, neighboring kingdom or something like that.
See, my thought on that, though, is that takes a long time in production.
Absolutely.
And that's why I'm less optimistic that would happen.
Mm-hmm.
I would be fine with that game as well, but if I had my choice, I would like a game that is, quote unquote open world like past Zelda games have been, with a lot of freedom and stuff, but some guided progress in the form of traditional dungeons. You can
go through this temple,
and you can still do the Link Between Worlds thing where a lot of them are in an optional order. That's cool.
And I would also agree with you in the sense of I would like more traditional dungeons as opposed to how they did the spirit animals or the divine beasts. Spirit animals. It's been a long podcast.
Yeah, it certainly has. So let's wrap this crap up.
Sounds good.
But I did want to say that the very, very end, the stinger at the end with Ganondorf where he opens his eyes.
That was so good.
He does like a tutting death drop where he flips backwards and his head goes back and then he serves face right to Link and Zelda and he's like, Hunty. I love it so much.
Oh, it's so good.
And then we see, Hyrule Castle lifting up, going into space. And it's like, yo, I remember those space concepts from the concept art. Are we doing space now? Is that where we're going?
Zelda in space.
I don't know. Just take me. I don't care. I'm perfume. So, hey, Galen, do you have some additional DLC for everybody?
You know what? I want to stay kind of on theme with the whole video game thing this week, so I'm actually going to
because we don't talk about video games the other weeks? What the fuck
I know, right? So I am actually going to recommend you guys checking out the Mario Maker 2 Invitational that Nintendo did right before E3 kind of started. I watched the entire thing. I loved it. I was personally rooting for my man, the completionist, who is on there, who got a little bit of flack during this, especially after. And I feel bad for the man because, he explained afterwards how, during, the minutes right before kind of going on, he was having, a mini panic attack or something like that of just realizing where he was and what he was doing and what he was about to be doing.
What did he get flack for?
Just kind of seizing up because there was did you watch the Invitational?
No.
Okay.
I've been busy. I've been there. I haven't watched anything E3 related
enough.
Except for a bit of the direct.
So at the beginning of the Invitational, they had 4 YouTubers who actually came on who they invited onto there.
Also, I thought their selection of people that they invited on was weird. It wasn't Mario Maker people. You know what I mean? It was just famous YouTube people that Nintendo gets along with.
I think it had more to do with people that they just got along with and they've had previous partnership deals with, just to kind of strengthen that or something.
Yeah, sure, but I mean I don't know, it didn't, that selection of people did not say Mario Maker. You wouldn't invite you and I to a Street Fighter V tournament, you know what I mean?
I would get owned.
That's what I'm saying.
I would get schooled. I actually have seen some Let's Plays of Gerard doing Mario Maker Kaizo. So he does have some Mario Maker skill there. I actually didn't know a whole lot about the other contestants over there.
But that's what I'm saying though. I'm sure Gerard is a good Mario player, but nobody is a Mario Maker savant or just well known among making levels or speed running those levels. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I understand where you're coming from.
So that's a criticism on Nintendo from me.
Yeah. But with that said, they brought 4 people in and then they did a one-on-one and then a one-on-one, and whoever had the best time of those 2 matches got to select their partner for round 2. And then it would be, they were showing off their co-op version of the Mario Maker levels. And it was a team of 2 versus a team of 2. Whoever can beat that first, that team would go on to onto the finals and face against each other. And it was a really fun thing to watch all together. It was fun watching them go through these levels and kind of figure out what do they need to do on them, because there were a lot of puzzle solving to it itself, and puzzle solving in the sense of trying to figure out what you have to do and how you need to time it more specifically. So I really enjoyed watching it all.
Awesome. I don't have additional DLC. I've been busy. I'm sorry. Nothing. Yeah, nothing.
That's fair.
But coincidentally, I did run into Gerard's brother at E3. We were in the media lounge, and I was sitting down and working on my laptop, and then he came over with another dude. He was like, "Oh shit, do they have Wi-Fi here?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's this thing." And I gave him the paper with the password on it. He was like, "Yeah, thanks." And just because I looked at him, I was like, that guy looks familiar. And I was like, well, whatever. Lots of people look familiar, especially at E3. And then he was talking to his buddy, and we were all working and stuff. And a couple minutes later, he mentions like, oh, and Gerard is doing this thing. And then I was like, it clicked. And I was like, oh, wait a second. Huh. And then I said to him, I was like, hey, sorry to bother, but are you related to Gerard? And he goes, yes, I am. He's my brother. And I was like, makes sense. That's why you look familiar. And then I like mentioned this thing to him. And he was a really...
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, he was a really cool guy. We chatted about some stuff and passed cards back and forth and...
Neat.
All that good stuff. Just networking and junk. But he was really nice. He's definitely, I think, involved with a lot of business stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, if we want to have Gerard on the show, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I'm sure he would make time for us to do that. He wouldn't come on our show. Are you kidding me? He seems like a really nice guy, and like
you never know unless you ask.
I'm not gonna ask that. That's so opportunistic. That's the thing with like the media industry is that it is a tiny industry, all right, with the video games industry, and you can't just be like that opportunistic prick. People smell that immediately. You just have to be nice and not look for things.
I don't want to be opportunistic. I just want to be friends.
Yeah, but I mean, like, why? Like, why would he be friends with you? You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
No, I'm not. I'm sorry. That's not really mean. I didn't mean.
Oni's being mean again.
I didn't mean that he would not be friends with you. I'm just saying that, like, you can't approach somebody that, like, you've seen on YouTube and be like, hey, I like your videos. I want to be friends with you. Like, you have to put yourself in the other person's shoes. It's weird. Like, somebody noticed me at E3 and said some stuff, and I was like, this is awkward. Like, I don't think that they've considered what it feels like to be in the other person's shoes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that you should ever like meet anybody to try and... sorry, I'm not saying you're doing that too. I'm just thinking about other people. You know how... I don't know. People will be like... They'll be talking to you for a second, right? And then they realize where you're from. This happened to me a couple of times there, and they're like, oh, so you're from this? Hey, so what do you do? Can I... You know what I mean?
No, I understand that. It's like...
You can smell that in an instant. The desperation and stuff. Like, you just gotta be... Yeah, big old PSA to people in general. Just when you're networking in any atmosphere, don't ever go into it trying to get something out of it. Like, you gotta make connections and be like a genuine person, not like, hey, can I give you my card so that way I can get something from you? Like, that is awful.
Yeah.
Also, don't mention things about people's private lives. That's creepy.
Agreed.
Real creepy. So let's go on to some listener mail. Why are you laughing, jackass?
Because I'm just connecting your tirade to us going to listener mail.
Oh, yeah. If you want to be a creepy weirdo and ask me about my personal life, just like that person at E3, you can send us an email to nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com.
That email again is nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com.
And your email might sound a little something like this.
So we have 2 emails today, and our first one is from Will, who we actually got for the last one, and we had to bring it over to this one. So sorry for the wait, but thanks for writing in, Will. He writes, "Hi guys. Insert usual great show, fun chemistry. Feels like I sat with friends talking about video games. Compliments."
Thank you, Will.
Thank you, Will.
How you doing today, Will? What's going on in your life?
Yeah.
Do you have breakfast this morning? Breakfast's real important, you know.
Well, he's giving greetings from jolly old England, so I'm guessing he's having like blood pudding and eggs and something.
No. The British breakfast is like full of like meat.
Is it blood pudding or blood sausage?
Blood sausage, yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's like eggs and beans.
But they call a sausage a banger, so you put it's a blood banger in your mouth. We know nothing about England. Please correct us.
Greetings from jolly old England. Feel free to do your best version of a British/English accent. Trust me, it will offend. So,
Oi, bruv.
my question is, do you have any memories of any game that, even though you don't particularly liked playing them, you carried on either to completion or at least finished it because you felt obligated to, or because your friends have been talking it up, or because you played other games in the series, so you felt like you had to play this one for any other reason? Keep up the great work. All the best, Will.
You misread his email. He said, or any other reason.
Or any other reason. It's keeping on my reoccurring trend of just being wrong this entire podcast.
Also, you should have done a Michael Caine British accent.
Oh, no, I shouldn't have.
Yes.
It would have ended poorly.
Greetings from jolly old England. My question is, do you have any memories of any games that, even though you didn't particularly like playing them, Master Wayne? That's
how about you take this one?
Okay, sure.
Gotta recover from
but
that.
I gotta redeem myself with that. Not that I'm good at doing a British accent by any means. By any means, that was more a bad Michael Caine impression than it was a bad British impression. But still, I'm not good at that anyway. Thank you, Will. Also, thank you for being a good sport, and I hope you had breakfast. What was his question?
So, the spirit of the question.
Oh yeah, just stop playing the games.
Yeah.
Yes, so very recently, actually, I have a great example for this. It was World of Final Fantasy Maxima. I was enjoying lots of parts of that game, not enjoying some of it, and then as I kept going, the scale got tipped in the direction of, you know what, I'm actually not enjoying my time. Yeah. But I'm so close to the damn ending, I have to see how this ends, even though I don't care about the characters, and I don't care about the story, and I no longer care about the battle system, which was the only thing keeping me attached. But I was so close, I had to do it anyway, so I finally did it. I beat the end boss. Wow, did I not care. I got the bad ending. I super didn't care. I looked up the good ending on YouTube rather than actually playing it again, and I immediately archived it and uninstalled it. I really don't have friends who have, good taste in video games. That's right, Galen. So, I've never had any friends talking up a game. What?
How's your Knights of Boobies game coming along?
Well, I haven't played boobies in a long time, so I plan on getting my hands on some boobies this week, though, and I'll let you know how it feels.
Nice. What?
I really don't have friends who are talking up games that I should play, to be honest. And honestly, I never really thought about this too much, just because I'm constantly thinking about games. I really don't get a lot of recommendations. If any of you guys are still listening to the podcast here, if you got some game recommendations for me, shoot them on over on Twitter or the Nintendo Everything email. I haven't gotten a good game recommendation in a long time. I'm the person always telling others about their games, you know? I think I have some more, but while I'm thinking, Galen, what's your response?
So, I actually had two games that came to mind on this one. The first one is going to be Mega Man Battle Network 4, Blue Moon and Red Sun.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, this fucking game. Thought if I was going to censor myself, but I need to express my passion.
Thank you for giving me some more post-editing work.
So, the thing about this game, when it first came out, is that it had two versions of it. Each version had 6 unique souls or forms that you can change your Mega Man into. You had to beat the partner quest in order to get that particular soul. So if you wanted to go and have the Night Soul, you had to go beat Nightman and, things like that.
Was there a day man?
In the other version.
Champion of the sun.
here's the thing. The entire thing was broken down. God damn it.
Master of karate.
The entire thing was broken down
For
in
everyone.
the form of a tournament. And your placement and who you fought in this tournament was randomized. The problem is that you can only beat... what does I want to say? You could only play against 3 of the 6 people in your version per playthrough. So you played through, you got 3 different souls. And then they had New Game Plus, and you had to play through the entire thing again, and you could only get 2 souls. And then you had to play through the entire thing again to get the last soul. So you had to play the game 3 different times just to get all the playable cartridges or characters on your version. I got both.
You did this twice? You did
played
it twice
through
times
this
6?
game. Yeah, I played through this game 6 bloody times just to get a feel of every single character I could change my Mega Man into.
Listen, don't respond to Will by saying bloody. That is really condescending, and I'm sure he hates it.
So that was just pure determination of me getting through this because I loved playing the Mega Man Battle Network games. But oh my god, I should never have to play a game 6 times going through the story each time.
That sounds awful. That sounds terrible.
It was
and I think that
exhausting.
you've made bad decisions in your life.
The other game that came to mind was Samurai Legend Musashi for the PlayStation 2.
Oh, yeah. What a bummer, that game.
Yeah, you know that, Brave Fencer Musashi for the PS1 was phenomenal. It was a great game.
Yeah.
I think we played through it together, actually.
We did,
if I
like,
remember.
multiple times. We
Yeah.
had a ton of fun with that game.
It was so much fun, and it came with, like, the Final Fantasy VIII demo disc, which, by the way, I cleaned out my garage the other day, and I found that disc, so I still have it.
Sounds like you need to sell some crap.
Yeah, seriously. And I was really excited when I heard that there was a sequel coming out for the PS2, and so disappointed when I actually started playing it.
Yes.
Like, it turned into this, like, harem waifu chaser thing with this grown-up, kind of like angsty teenage version of Musashi, where his character model changed and grew up. His personality did not.
Boy, the PS2 era really did have a whole lot of those like problems with sequels.
Right?
I loved the PS2. It might be one of my favorite consoles for sure. But there were a lot of games like that.
Yeah. No, Samurai Legend Musashi is still a disappointing game to me to this day. So.
Wait, so did you beat it?
Oh yeah, no, I beat it because I loved the first game, and I kept telling myself it was gonna get better, and then it got to a point where it was about 3/4 of the way through the game, and I was like, I'm in too deep to stop now. I might as well.
So there are a couple aspects to Will's questions where I'm like, you know what? I think Galen is the prime person to answer these kinds of questions because you never learn from your mistakes.
I never learn from my mistakes.
However, you are also a fake gamer, so you don't ever play video games.
No, I am wrong 100% of the podcasts that we do.
Listen, I didn't say 100% of the podcast. I just said all the time. I did think of another answer to Will's question here.
Was it the definition of podcast because you couldn't remember it just about half an hour ago?
It's because have you played other games in the series? So with that, it is Final Fantasy. I've played every game in the Final Fantasy series, and I will stick with a Final Fantasy game even if it loses me and beat it just because I have to beat all the Final Fantasies.
Yeah.
The exceptions being those MMO ones, because when 11 came out, I was living in the Midwest and the internet not go fast in Midwest. So
Yeah.
I never had internet. And yeah, I have not played 15 yet. I bought it though, so it is on my backlog, but I will play that and beat it no matter how much I don't like it. This sucks.
Hey, it could be worse. You could have that feeling towards Kingdom Hearts games or something.
I almost did. I put my foot down with Kingdom Hearts 3.
Let me tell you why Roxas is so special. Nope. Walking away.
Did I complain about this on the podcast, or were we just talking about it? I
think we were just talking about it.
That game, that series, should be the most easiest thing to get into, right? Disney characters, huge properties. Final Fantasy characters, huge properties. You put those two things together in a game, it should be so accessible, but instead, they figured out a way to make it the most inaccessible game series ever. It's like impressive how dumb they went with it, you know? And you know, if you're into it, I'm totally cool with that. Like, go ahead. Not trying to shit on you for liking it. I'm just saying that series I don't like.
Yeah.
And it's a damn shame because I wanted to like it so bad. You remember, I went out to visit you when you were living in Seattle when that second game came out, and we took off classes to go and get that game day one, Kingdom Hearts 2.
I remember that. Yep. Hey, you know what? Cleaning out the garage, I found the strategy guide from that too.
You need to sell those strategy guides, man.
I think I've thrown away most of them.
Oh, that's probably like daggers to certain people's ears.
Yeah. Well, and they were like Prima games for like World of Warcraft, you know, the Burning
You'd be
Crusade
surprised.
expansion.
Lots of people want them.
Yeah, I kept the hardcover ones, so.
So thank you, Will.
Thanks, Will. That was a good question. I like that. But that is not the only question we have.
No, it is not.
We have a question from Jamie. And I don't know if this is a male or female version of Jamie. So, hi, Jamie. How you doing? Jamie writes, "Hi, guys. How do you go about choosing the background music for the podcast? So far, I've heard music from Donkey Kong Country 2 and Tropical Freeze, Super Metroid, Breath of the Wild, and many more. Keep up the good work." Oni,
you,
would you like to take this question? Thanks, Jamie.
Why, yes, I will take this question because I am the one who edits the podcast. Oh, also, Jamie is from Australia.
Oh.
Hey, get it, mate. I always love to hear from our listeners, of course, but I especially am always just very pleased, very, very whelmed when I hear from listeners from overseas. So I edit the podcast and I started putting in music, I don't even know, like around the 11th or 12th episode, just in the background, kind of on the lower, so that way you kind of hear it, you kind of don't, just to give you guys a little something to listen to besides our terrible voices. And I intentionally choose music from games that have been on Nintendo platforms, so not exclusively Nintendo games or anything, with, you know, a couple of exceptions here or there. And I try and choose music that's kind of relaxing or calming, kind of the music that you would put on in the background while you're working or studying or something like that. Because you don't want like a big bombastic thing happening when you're trying to pay attention to what we're saying, because we're so engaging, right? So yeah, you'll hear the Donkey Kong Country, the water themes all the time for sure. But if you guys have any suggestions on the music or whatever, and the sound effects that I throw in from time to time, let me know. I'm always trying to improve the podcast and my craft for you guys.
Oni, can I make a suggestion?
No, anytime that Galen makes a suggestion, I shoot it down.
Have you ever thought about coming up with a Spotify playlist or something of the background music that you've made? Or you've been using?
No, I've never thought of that. You guys want that? Let me know. If you want that, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Not Galen. Galen doesn't count. I also did want to say, though, that from time to time, I also try to make it thematic as well. Like with the Pokemon Direct discussion that we had a couple weeks ago, I intentionally did a bunch of Pokemon music in that one. And then when we did the special episode for the spoiler cast for Chocobo Mystery Dungeon, I did intentionally Final Fantasy music the entire time too.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
I don't know if it's cool. I just try a little bit. I'm trying to put some effort in there for you guys every week.
I was about to say we should find another game to do a spoiler cast on because I like that little one-off that we did.
I did too. We should find a game that we're both gonna play. Let's see. What's the big one that's coming out pretty soon? Probably Fire Emblem, eh?
I did just get Cadence of Hyrule. Just saying.
Oh yeah. Okay, I should pick that up and then we'll try and do that.
Yeah.
Or you could play Boobies of the New Boob, and we can talk about that.
Listen, I have a wife who would judge me for that, so...
No, she wouldn't. Listen, I have a feeling your wife knows that you like boobs. Everybody likes boobs. I'm a gay man. I love boobs. Oh, speaking of which, Tifa in Final Fantasy VII... Did you see that? Did you see her beating everybody up? Oh, so good. So good. Love her. So glad to see her reappear. Want her to just crush my head with her knees.
So weird.
No, it's not. Or yes, it is. See, I am a creepy sex pervert. How do we end the show?
Just like that. End of show right there.
So what's coming up? What's coming out on Nintendo Everything? A bunch of crap. Bunch of post E3 coverage. We got interviews. We got hands-on footage, off-screen footage, direct capture on all of the Nintendo Switch games that were there. And God, what else? Oh, impression pieces. That's right. So I've been just giving you guys a little bit of snippets, a little bit of teasers on a whole bunch of games that I've been playing as we've been talking about them in the Nintendo Direct. I will also have full impressions written together with a little bit more of a critical observation. So I'll think about it and put some effort into it, you know? So really appreciate it if you guys look forward to that. And again, what did I say in the very beginning of this podcast like 2.5 hours ago? Please send in emails about, if you want to hear us talk about E3 stuff, because that'll help keep us on track for certain things. So yeah, that would be really lovely.
Any questions about like Oni's E3 experience, anything that he saw there, any games you want us to talk about in particular?
Yeah. You want to hear what Galen thinks about Cyberpunk 77? I'm not letting you know. I won't let you know unless you ask. That's how you get in the door.
There were also a lot of Nintendo games that were announced that were not in the Direct. There was one during the Microsoft conference that's also coming out for the Switch, Spiritfarer, that I would love to talk about. We might talk about next episode.
Oh, and that Gods and Heroes game too, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
What's that called?
I think Gods and Monsters.
Gods and Monsters? I don't know.
Yeah. Something Ubisoft.
So, stay connected to us on Twitter. We have the Nin Everything Twitter. We've also got the YouTube Nin Everything. And you can send me emotional support by tweeting me at Oni_Dino. You can also see some of my postings on the Instagrams. I just put up some awesome pictures of, well, they went down the other day. I put them up on E3 times of Grookey statues, Sobble statues, Score Bunny. I'll be putting up some more E3 pictures as well on my Instagram. That's at Oni__Dino. Galen, what are you going to be putting up and where are you going to be putting up?
Well, you guys can always follow my stuff on the Twitter at Mobius087. As far as what I'll put up, I don't know. I put up a picture of my dog the other day. I put up a couple of Cyberpunk 2077 memes where I put like Keanu Reeves' face on a bar of chocolate and the Cyberpunk logo on some peanut butter. There was a joke that went in there. Still working on it.
You need to work on your appeal game, bro. Yo, so check out how friggin' long this podcast was. Are we just gonna make longer and longer episodes literally every week?
Yep. Next week's gonna be 4 hours long.
This is ridiculous. I have so much other work to do, and I've got some like crazy life stuff happening too. What are we doing to me? What are we doing to me, Galen? Jerk.
We are running a weekly podcast.
That's right, a weekly podcast. You stay tuned, dear listener, for next week.
Nice.
And for everything Nintendo.
Stay tuned to Nintendo Everything.
Mata ne. You're gonna say bye? You're gonna be an ass? What?
Oh, but bye.